can't believe the stupid things I've said and done since you've been gone. Guess that I can't make it on my own. Counting up the coffee cups, the takeout boxes piling up. I guess I'm not made to be alone. 'Cause there's just you I see, staring back at me. Everywhere you go, I feel you there. Oh, and I can't sleep. Your stillness runs so deep. And now that you are gone, you're everywhere. Thinking back to all the moments lost between the darkest corners, lost between the pages of my mind. There you are and disappear, just like you did when you were here. I tell myself that everything is fine, 'cause there's just you I see, staring back at me. Anywhere I go, I feel you there. Oh, and I can't sleep. Your stillness runs so deep. And now that you are gone, you're everywhere. Hiding in the cupboard, sneaking up the stairs, flashing lights and closing doors. I hear your heart beneath the floor, and now I know I'll never be alone. Can't believe the stupid things I've felt and seen since you've been gone. Now everybody knows what I have done. They can't see, but I know you're there, crying for me everywhere. No hiding places, nowhere left to run. 'Cause there's just you I see, staring back at me. Everywhere I go, I feel you there. Oh, and I can't sleep. Your stillness runs so deep. And now that you are gone, you're every. I can't believe you're gone, you're every. 'Cause you're not really gone, you're everywhere.
The link, here on Breeze 93.9 FM.
Ooh, yeah.
So that when I wake up to a new sunrise, the sensation makes me feel a tingle inside. There's nothing like a bright sunny day, and how your kisses greet me. Yes, I'll be on my way. Well, it's you that makes me feel this way. Yes, to you, and I can't get you out of my head. I'm steady feeling irate. Oh yeah, I'm steady feeling irate. Oh yeah. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. The color green surrounds me, from the mountain to the sea, and it makes me proud to say I live in God's country. There is no place that you can go to inhale the spirit of the Aina as the sweet winds blow. What it's you that makes me feel this way. Yes, it's you, and I can't get you out of my head. I'm steady feeling irate. Oh yeah, I'm steady feeling irate. Oh yeah, write me a letter, and I'll put your picture in it too. Tell me you love me, and when you miss me, you know what to do. Just write me a letter, and I'll put your picture in it too. Tell me you love me, and when you miss me, you know what to do. Oh yeah, just write me a letter. Yes, each and every day you put your name and your picture and send it on me way so I can hang it like a poster. See it every day, there ain't no way I can miss you. No way, I'm no way. Write me a letter. Yes, each and every day you put your name and your picture and send it on me way so I can hang it like a poster. See it every day, there ain't no way I can miss you. No way, I'm no way. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. Oh yeah. Ooh yeah.
Gosinja uli die sombren zelten meg. Et zu te saluda antes Dio hum niga. Radzaudz en melekes fredzes, tu redin todo in memu. A nogi distancia, como kupugi palu. Zangiman malak guafi, ikonum nasugi airi, preba tu la noci, nai banderata gaigi, pues atten fanni bandera, kau esta pagua pumalalapa, gilo tanu man libri, sentami ti man ko badi.
Fanogi chamoru puri tanota kantai sunon yagi toru iluga Paraiona Parai Gloria Abiba Isla Sen Paraiona Parai Gloria Abiba Isla Sen Toru itempo ipas paraita zanginilan na bendition contra piligu na fansafuam Zeus proteis landon contra piligu na fansafuam Zeus proteis landon
Here on Breeze 93.9 FM.
Have you ever Good morning, Guam. Right on. Good morning, Sabrina.
Good morning.
You're welcome. I just told Sabrina you can do selfies in portrait mode.
It's awesome.
Pretty cool, huh? Hey, good morning. Morning, guys. It's 6:20, Thursday, May 20th. Episode of The Link. My name is Chris.
I'm Sabrina.
And welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come one, come all. Hear ye, hear ye. Good? Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, we're proudly brought to you by East West Rental. Thank you, East West Rental, so much. You guys getting your summer projects going, go check them out for all your proper gear. All right? Because you can't just do the job without the gear. You need the equipment, you need the tools, so check them out. Cabo Enterprises, IT&E and our friends at Jack in the Box, where they got the cheddar breakfast biscuits and cheesy stuffed tater tots. Oh, that'll get you going in the morning. It's 6:21 Thursday morning. Who we got coming up this morning, Bree?
I believe we have Edward Byrne. He's the director for the Department of Administration. Many of you may have seen the story of the press release from Adaloop about the disappearing deficit going from 83 million to about 1.5 million, I believe.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk to him about the formula and how this came about. I know that it was attributed to the BPT bond refinancing, which brought about, I believe, $63 million in savings.
Yeah.
So we'll talk with him about that. And Sean is going to join us.
Sean Gubatata, yep. He's about to go on leave. A lot of people traveling now.
Yeah. So we're going to talk with Chima.
Yes.
Right, he's coming on.
Yes,
talk
Chima.
about more on the quarantine, the call center, the vaccination verifications.
Some of the contact tracing issues. And they're also presenting, they're doing their budget hearing this morning.
Ooh.
Right. So, thankful to Art St. Augustine for, because first he was like, oh, man, the whole team's going to be at the legislature for the budget hearing. And I was like, man, can you just spare a few minutes because we haven't had Chima on in a couple days? And he was like, you know what? Okay, for the link, okay, send the link for the link.
Thanks, Art.
Yeah. Who else we got? Is that it? No, right?
Let's see. We got Senator Chris Duenas,
Yeah.
minority leader, coming on the show.
Yeah, he's going to start doing a weekly update here. We get the speaker on. He's going to do every other week. What's every other week? Is that bi-weekly? Or is that every... Anyway,
Bi-monthly?
he's coming on, bi-monthly. Thank you. Just to talk about... I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about this ARP funding, because I'm just wondering, and it's only been... Has it been a week since that meeting?
Yeah.
It's about a week?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's been a week. Haven't really heard anything. I did ask the Gov during the press conference, what's the next step? So we have this big meeting. The senators unveil their plan to spend this money. But what? Off them on. What after that? What's next, guys? But so we had the speaker on yesterday, and she was saying that they were going to kind of go over their spending priority list, which was for 660 some million, and kind of fine tune it downwards to accommodate the new. Well, it's not new. We're getting like 500 something million from the ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act, and then there's a bunch of other different monies coming down for different things like capital improvement. There's just a lot of money, guys. DOE's getting money, and then besides this whole 500 something million federal funding, you're getting agencies that are also getting federal money on their own, right?
And there's a few of those, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. And we're also probably going to talk to him because Congressman St. Nicholas is holding with Senator James Moylan and some of the other Republican senators on their Let's Get Guam Moving initiative. So that's at 10 o'clock this morning.
Holding a press conference.
I guess you could say he's going to kind of do what he did last week when the Treasury guidance came out and he went through the legislature's spending plan.
Right.
And kind of briefed everybody on what might fit into the guidelines and what might not.
Right.
And so, yeah, I don't know if you remember way back when some of the Republican senators got together and they talked about their Let's Get Guam Moving initiative.
Right, and this Let's Get Guam Moving is it's a bunch of different bills that they say will address the reopening and revitalization of the economy.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Right.
So, we're talking about displaced employees, workforce incentives, business startup incentives. Para y Público provides every eligible resident a $500 debit card to spend at local establishments.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That is a good idea.
No.
That one I could get. What number is that?
There's no bill number
Oh.
assigned to this. There's the
Yes, give us money.
There's the HEAP program. That's the Guam
Give us a lot of money. Sorry, Bree.
the Guam Home Energy Assistance Program. I don't even know if I'm saying this right. Atkilan Guma Assistance Program provides eligible residents with a grant to assist with home rentals. And then there's increasing the payout of the RISE Act from $800 to $1,000 for individuals and $1,600 to $2,000 for joint filers.
Right on.
So those are the 6 initiatives, and Congressman St. Nicholas.
So he's gonna wait. He's gonna go down each initiative, and he's gonna tell us if they don't fit in with what's allowed under the ARPA.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, they did something with the $500 debit card thing. I want to say they did that in Hawaii, Ken.
Yeah, or I don't know. I'm not sure.
No, because I remember Mary Rhodes was saying something about
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
right? And yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally.
Totally. So
I
yeah,
mean,
that's
yeah.
at 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
and it'll
that's
also
at
be
10.
streaming on his,
KUAM.
yeah, as soon as we get the link, we
Yeah.
can probably stream it at 10.
Okay. So that's happening. What else? What else, Bree?
With what?
With the show?
I don't know.
Are we
You
getting
said
anybody
yes.
from Humatic on the show this morning?
Are we?
Are we?
I don't know. Are we? What did you set up?
I know. Sorry. I actually set up the guest, but I'm
Yeah, you set it up and sent it like this morning.
sorry, man. I thought I pressed send. I actually typed it. You ever do that? You'd go to respond on WhatsApp and you type it in, but you forget to press send. Yeah, that was me this morning. Bree's like, who's coming on the show? And I was like, God, Bree, go drink your coffee. Oh, dude, I didn't even press send. Oops. Oh. Yeah, so we're getting Joe Canat of the Guam Preservation Trust. There's this really cool, it's like a training thing that they're doing, and it's also you can get continuing education credits for it. It's archaeology.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to look at the flyer again, but it's something with archaeology, which is really cool because Indiana Jones. And yeah, we need more local people to get into the archaeology. We study our own history.
Is Tim Hogan still coming on?
Tim Huggan is still coming on.
Okay.
Yeah, Veterans Affairs Administrator. They had something in the Senator's priority list for Veterans Affairs. I think it had to do with modernizing some of their systems there. So we had Tim on, I want to say it was like a month or two ago. We brought him on with a couple veterans, and they were, they had good words for Tim, so we'll catch up with the VA, the local VA. That's what's coming up on the link, guys. It's 6:29. Hey, good morning, Facebook Live. Rosemary Laguatnia, good morning, team. Mama Jen, half a day. Good morning. All right. Of course, Mama Jen, the previous life, Bree and I tried to do 10Ks and half marathons. So we know Mama Jen from a previous life. No, dude, I gotta say, Bree, we were kicking ass before this damn pandemic.
Yeah. We're finally finding. our
Like, dude, we were
stride.
running 9 miles. Remember that?
I do remember.
What the hell was wrong with us? Now I look back,
I
I'm like,
remember
what were you even thinking, dude?
JFK Hill.
What were you thinking?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So yeah, good morning, Mama Bear Debbie Davis. Who else we got here? Sally John, good morning with the emojis. Emma Olalia, good morning and a thumbs up. Julia Cruz, good morning. Chris Bree and Jason. Jason is on vacation. Did you guys hear from him yesterday on his first day of leave?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of course. What do you say? Hey guys, how you doing? Hey guys, so what'd you eat for lunch today? Was that what he said? Or is
No,
he
no,
just
no.
a-
I reached out to him.
You bothered the guy on his first day of leave?
I just had to ask him an inappropriate question. So
Yeah, Bree was like, so are you laying on your couch? Alone? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Clovis Logan, how I love Guam. Well, you know we love you too, man. Elizabeth Agagi, Ken Paulino, good morning. Mary Jane Villagomez, Reese Azuzu Borja, Mananas Izuus, Angel Pete, Quintaniza Castro, Mananas Izuus, have a good day, be safe. Tony Kimbao, good morning, KUAM crew. Buenas. Hey, dude, can we get that video that was in the Photog chat yesterday with that white guy? I'll send it. Yeah. I just want to share this with you guys later. It was pretty cool. Also, what do we got here? Leslie St. Nicholas. Leslie is watching. Good morning. Tessie Callan. Good morning. Guam. Good morning. Welcome to the link, guys. This is the show where we do the things on the weekday mornings for you guys. And let's go ahead and get into it now. It's 6:31 with the very latest. Rocking her. Is that burgundy?
no, maybe
It's like
a
wine.
mauve. A mauve.
Mauve. Oh. Rocking her mauve ensemble.
Like a moth to the flame.
Like a mauve to the flame. Joe, we got to get you a mic. You know, Ken, if you're not going to use this microphone that Jason used, we can give it to Joe, sir. Got to earn your keep around here. Handy with the mic, if you know what I mean. All right, let's go ahead and do it. From the KUAM News team with the very latest, Sabrina Salas Matanani. Good morning, Sabrina.
Half a day, everybody. The naval base Guam has joined Anderson Air Force Base in updating its policy and is now also going mask free. Nestor Locanto has more.
The Navy announced that effective immediately, fully COVID vaccinated personnel and patrons will no longer have to wear a mask indoors or outdoors while on NBG installations. The Navy says this aligns with new Department of Defense guidance. Those who are not fully vaccinated, though, must continue to wear a mask indoors and in outdoor settings when social distancing cannot be maintained. When outside of the Naval Base Guam, military personnel, regardless of vaccination status, are required to wear face coverings. In a news release, NBG said it is committed to the health and safety of personnel, family members, and the local community. It will also be hosting a pair of COVID vaccination clinics later this month in conjunction with the U.S. Naval Hospital. They are scheduled for Thursday, May 27 from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the MBG Chapel, and on Saturday, May 29th from 8 a.m. to noon at the Navy Exchange Food Court and Outdoor Dining Area. Individuals must be 18 years and older and possess a valid DoD ID card. The categories include active duty service members, civilian DoD employees, eligible DoD contractors, TRICARE beneficiaries, VA beneficiaries, NEX employees, and commissary employees. Appointments are not required.
As for the latest numbers, the Joint Information Center reports that 480 test samples taken on the 18th came back with 9 positive for COVID. Of the new cases, 4 were identified through contact tracing. This brings the total of officially reported cases of COVID to 8,118 since March of last year. There have been 139 deaths, 88 cases are active, and there have been more than 7,800 recoveries. The COVID hospital census is 8 that are currently hospitalized, 1 receiving ICU level of care, 1 on a ventilator. The CAR score has gone down slightly to 0.8. As far as vaccination numbers, a total of 73,647 individuals on Guam have been fully immunized. With more news now, here is Tyler Mazzanoni.
Buonasera and half a day, everyone. I'm Tyler Matinani with your headlines here on The Link. The government's deficit has all but disappeared. That's the word from Adelup Wednesday. The administration says unaudited financial statements for the year ending September 30, 2020 show a general fund surplus of $46.2 million. And that reduces the accumulated deficit to just $1.5 million or 0.2% of revenues.
Following the latest development.
In a statement, the governor said almost completely eliminating what was a more than $83 million deficit when she took office is a direct result of a commitment to fiscal discipline. Administration Director Edward Burns says the governor, her fiscal team, and agency heads who operated within their budgets should be commended.
Government funds are basically like any other business. If you have a deficit, it means that your liabilities exceed your assets. And no business and no government can operate in that fashion.
But the general fund surplus can also be attributed to a huge influx of federal pandemic assistance.
But a lot of the surplus can be attributed to the administration's goal of getting more federal funds generally into the general fund. We have a lot of access to federal funds. The skill is using them to the last dollar and making sure that we use federal funds where we can instead of local funds. And we were pretty successful in doing that.
Burns says it is the administration's goal and it would be prudent to continue to build a surplus.
We had discussion last year of a rainy day fund so that we had some cushion in the case of a rainy day. Unfortunately, the rainy day came.
But just because there's a surplus and an almost zeroed out deficit, he says, is no reason to think about rolling back taxes, such as the Chamber of Commerce has been calling for.
It's not like it's a continuing thing. You have to work at it all the time, and you have to continue to maximize your revenues and minimize your expenses. Otherwise, you just fall back into where you were. So I would suggest to them that that's not a good plan.
He says the better plan is to continue just as we are, so a rainy day fund can be built up for the next emergency.
Attributed to the near elimination of the government's deficit was the recent refinancing of the business privilege tax bonds. According to GIDA, the sale yielded $63 million in savings. Additionally, Adelup says the upgrade of Moody's rating to stable from negative also led to the improvement in government finances. The governor says she will work with the legislature to use the savings from the BPT sale to go directly into greater investments into critical services such as healthcare, public safety, education, and into the economy. 2 firefighters assigned to the Fire Prevention Bureau tested positive for COVID-19. Both were not vaccinated. According to GFD, on Tuesday, one firefighter began experiencing COVID-like symptoms. The other informed GFD that a close family member had contracted the virus. A PCR test confirmed the firefighters were positive. They remain in home isolation. The remaining Fire Prevention Bureau personnel have been placed in quarantine pending testing, and the affected areas are being decontaminated. Fire Chief Dan Stone says that although these cases have become less frequent due to extra safety measures and a vetted COVID-19 wellness policy, it serves as a reminder that our island is still in a state of emergency. The final bell may have rung for most local schools, but for some GDOE schools, class is still in session. It may be summer, but many of the island's students are working extra hard to either catch up or get ahead. 4,700 students have enrolled in GDOE's summer school program, which is more than twice of what they normally get. But during last night's GEB meeting, Vice Chair Dr. Mary Ocado wanted to know
how many students are falling behind.
She further stated that students will not be able to do the new work if they haven't finished the old work. After much discussion, GEB Chairman Mark Mendiola finally revealed that when it comes to the number of students that have fallen behind,
technically we don't really know.
Although summer school is an opportunity for students to catch up, Deputy Joe Sanchez explained that they don't want to make it punitive.
Where
if you're going to fall behind, you have to come to summer school.
And if students choose not to go to summer school.
And what we didn't want to add is we didn't want to add the threat of retention, where if you didn't go to summer school, you're going to be retained. I mean, that was something that was understood way in the beginning, is we didn't want to use this past year as a situation where we would consider if you're going to be behind, we're going to hold you back. I mean, I don't think the department is ready to do something like that, and I don't think the community would accept something like that.
So, if some students that need to catch up do attend summer school, then what happens to the ones that don't? Sanchez says that what the department will do is assess students at the beginning of next school year to see where they stand academically. He says that one of the things they've told students is to start wherever they're at.
We're really trying to push back from language like learning loss, or students are going to be behind, or even terms like catch-up. Because catch-up implies that we're going to try to rush you to get up to speed. And really, we don't need to add that additional stress onto the students and to the teachers.
One thing the department is clear on, though, is that they will not turn any child away if they still want to attend summer school.
If you're interested, we're not going to turn you away because you missed the initial registration time frame.
As for registration for next school year,
you've got 87% of elementary students are expected back for face-to-face, 84% of middle school students, and 82% of high school students.
help is available for those who are struggling to meet their rent and utility payments. Representatives from GPA, GWA, and DOA were at the Barrigada Community Center Wednesday in the first of several village outreach events. They were on hand to answer questions about rental assistance and payment plans for utility customers who are in arrears or are facing disconnection. GPA Personnel Services Administrator James Borja.
It's outreach, right? And we wanted to support our mayors also. We've discussed with them, and they said it would be a great idea for us to come out and and be there to assist the constituents with any questions. So it's working with our village mayors and ensuring that we are out there for the public, and we're here to help.
The outreach continues Friday, May 21st in PD at the Social Hall, and on Wednesday, May 26th in Dededo at the Senior Citizen Center. Representatives will be there from 9 a.m. to noon. That's the news for now. We'll see y'all at 6 tonight on Primetime.
In national news, Democrats are pushing forward with a plan for a bipartisan commission to look into the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. But while the bill was created with bipartisan efforts, it does not have widespread Republican support. Skylar Henry has the story.
The House is planning a vote today to create a 9/11-style commission to investigate the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol.
It seems reasonable that America should have a bipartisan commission to ascertain the truth and present it to the American people.
The top Democrat and Republican on the House Homeland Security Commission negotiated the details of the 10-member commission, with Democrats agreeing to Republican demands for an even split between Democrat and Republican appointees, as well as both sides having subpoena power. But Republican leaders are urging their members to oppose the plan.
There are a lot of other things that should be on the table that our members have discussed, and even that Representative Katko himself pushed to get in these negotiations.
Some Republicans want to expand the commission to look at other political violence and demonstrations, including last summer's racial justice protests. The eventual creation of the January 6th commission remains in doubt, with Republicans in the Senate signaling they are opposed to the plan. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell told reporters Tuesday he's pushing the pause button on the legislation.
I'm not saying that we have decided this should not go forward, but if it's going to go forward, it needs to be clearly balanced and not tilted one way or the other, so we have an objective evaluation.
But Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he will bring the bill up for a vote on the Senate floor.
Republicans can let their constituents know. Are they on the side of truth? Or do they want to cover up for the insurrectionists and for Donald Trump?
Former President Trump urged Republicans to oppose the commission, calling it a Democratic trap. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The last day to drop off used vehicle batteries to village mayors is this week. In honor of Earth Month, AK partnered with the Mayor's Council of Guam to gather used auto batteries, according to AK Business Development Director Ernie Galito. The partnership was made in efforts to keep our island's environment safe, clean, and also helps promote not only sustainability but also recyclability. Galito adds that he hopes this project will help the illegal dumping issue on Guam. The first deadline date is set for today for northern villages. Central Village residents will have the opportunity to drop off batteries to their mayor's office until the 21st. The final date for southern villages is on Saturday. Each mayor's office will receive $10 per battery turned into AK, and funds will be used at the village leader's discretion, whether it be for fuel, to service vehicles, maintenance, and bush cutting supplies. That according to PD Mayor and Council President Jesse Alleg. World Bee Day is celebrated on the 20th. The National Day recognizes the importance of pollinators, the threats they face, and their contribution to sustainable development. In 2017, the day was declared as a day the same birthday as Anton Jansa, who is a pioneer of beekeeping. The Guam Beekeepers Association, in conjunction with the Guam Food Truck Coalition, is celebrating Bee Day today at the Skinner Plaza in Agana. A lot of activities are planned, from honey sales, people's choice of honey tasting, and bee dances. The association will also be giving away basil seedlings and lemon balm seedlings, which were prepared by the UOG Triton Farm. And with your news in Chamorro, here is Kin Concepcion.
Buenos tanapades to get sunto gifinut sa morgin ni KUAM News. Presenta ni Familian Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank. Ilinga idza adalub na tabiata marisisibi sa lapig in American Rescue Plan. Masaya esta CNMI makonfirma na matu para siya gi Martis. Speaker Teresa Lai sangan na sinigurudzi nui magahaga Lulion Guerrero gi mapos na simana na podia sa mananangga para farto magi gizagwahan lotia tungo afa dumiteteni. Mentus mananangga gobyerno sa tawag Departamento ng Administrasyon para manalisto i-check siya para di RISE Act. I-RISE Act na Lai sa manasangi 30 milyon pesos para inassiste ni pandemic. Aji siya mangkwalifika sa manmaapar si 800 pesos kada uno. Otro mas, imuna posible kana e-empasi deficit ng gobyernamentong guahan sa pwede ma-refinance si business privilege tax gwinigi alatsa. Sigon ni Gida at sinabinida sa salba 63 milyon pesos para gobyernamento. Sa gima sa lingay sa adelup na azihin na sa nitota rating gini Moody's disti negatibo esta establi sinina mas libyano yung gobyernamento gi sa lapi na banda. Ilinga gobyerno na para patutsui sa ni legislatura para manasabi at siya na sinadban sa lapi ginibinan din ni business privilege tax. Estagwato giman sempre sisuna si bisyo tagiyan assistant salud, seguridade publiko, edukasyon sa ni ekonomiya. Gimat sa sunto, dos na tao gwafi no manggayi gi Fire Prevention Bureau sa positibo test niya para COVID-19. Spokesperson para Guam Fire Department ako fitma na timabakuna estidos. Gizon niya release gimatis da 18 gimadzu, uno na official a report na timamalik sa Nintendo datay guihi COVID pinadesisyon niya. Yotro na official sa sangani loki Guam Fire Department na uno na membro ni familia niya sa ninadzi no ipesti. Turisti do sa mates da positibo gitamuning na fire station, jagi después mates PCR, zanog lokwi na parewa na resulto. Gay gidos gigumaniya naman makarentina, ipamalo siya ni Manggay gi Fire Prevention Bureau sa man makarentina mentus mananaga parofan mates. Jadi sa lugar niya fatogi estidos sa ma-decontaminate. Estimento niya ni Fire Department si Dan Stone, ilinya naman siya masaasan esta esti gi departamento sa masasanadahi siya gi seguridad na banda dedyon niya palisiyan COVID-19 esti na sinisedi sa masa na hasuit na islata sa gagigay gi estaw na emergency sa pudi COVID-19. Yuto mo na asunto, si John Raymond sa Nicholas Munya sa mataki pod family violence nubina 3 grado na felony, aggravated assault no 3 grado na felony, sa todo estido sa felony sa sineta ni felony release na notisya dyan na busong padgon no misdemeanor. Gidya 17 gimadzu, umali polisiya dyan Palawan na biktima dyan ni minor edad na lahinya dyan ma-report na ninikot guyas Munya. Pesa ataka ilahinya. Sigo na complain hinako na gaganya ipalawan na Munya. Dyan jiniti ipapa. Después sa pega timon niya gipitson niya Palawan, jay kanay niya giagaga. Anil liniin ni mindot edat na patgon, at sa simunya niya di flask, jaha salawgi para hupara, inlugat sinenik watu as munya kontra liga. Makon ni biktima para Guam Regional Medical City pero maamti po denigrido gigot guru niya. Simunya sa gaya gi pre-trial release gi otro na kausang felony gi 2020 nasakan. Para Guam News Network, Guam si Kin Concepcion. Yasunto ifinut sa moro sa presenta sa ninafatto ni Familiang Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank.
June makes the best malasadas in Hawaii, a fact not lost on Daryl, whose brother Byron is cooking the onaga he caught. had a secret fishing spot with his girlfriend Malia, who used to work for the Shave Ice Guy, whose second cousin Vince drives the school bus ridden by Calais, whose auntie makes the best malasadas in Hawaii. Everything here is connected, and with the new First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, you can stay just as connected to your finances, and it all starts with yes.
As May is a month to celebrate mothers and everything they do, let's not forget that many parents in our community are struggling to make ends meet and provide for their children with basic necessities. The KUAM Care Force is partnering with the Salvation Army for a very special drive this May, benefiting our precious and most vulnerable in our community. Through Friday, May 28th, we'll be collecting diapers, formula, infant toiletries, baby food, and other new items for infants and toddlers at our KUAM studios in Harmon on weekdays between noon and 4 p.m. Show you care and help families in need this spring. Due to the consideration of our current public health emergency, donations will not be accepted outside of hours specified. Curbside acceptance of donations is acceptable by calling 637-5826 upon arrival.
Steel Athletics has joined the KUAM Care Force as a community partner in the Mama and Nenny's Drive. You may also drop donations to their location in Tamuning on any day of the week. See KUAM.com for designated times.
I decided to get vaccinated because just thinking about all the lives lost from COVID and everyone on island that contracted the illness, I realized that I need to do my part, not just to protect myself, but our community. And I also realized we're still not out of the woods with variants that are out there. I want to be safe, and I want to keep my family safe. I'm Tyler Matinani, and I'm a proud member of the vaccination.
Join the vaccination. Scan and plan. For more information, go to KUAM.com.
Addis Trust and Investment, location, service, trust, is a proud partner of the KUAM Care Force.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
The world of television is more exciting than ever. Don't miss a minute of special presentations from NBC on KUAM TV8 or from CBS on KUAM TV11. Every month, we'll bring you the fun and excitement of award shows and red carpet moments, special series presentations, and other great network programs. Brought to you locally by King's Restaurant, Ruby Tuesday Guam, Bud Light Seltzer, and Docomo Pacific, giving you more reasons to tune in and turn on. Fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications. Help us celebrate the class of 2021. KUAM wants to help you celebrate this touchstone moment in the lives of your graduates. For the months of May and June, we will flood the social media pages of KUAM with photos and well wishes for the class of 2021 grads. Log on to KUAM.com to submit photos and brief messages or captions. Then look for your special grad on KUAM Instagram and the Facebook pages from all of your friends here at KUAM. Congratulations, seniors!
After a year with so many games and events delayed or unplayed, the world is ready for anything and everything in the world of sports. KUAM Communications is ready with more games, more championships, and more specials that are guaranteed to bring out the fan in you. Don't miss a minute of gameplay from NBC on KUAM TV8 or from CBS on KUAM TV11. Every month, we'll bring you the action and excitement. Brought to you locally by Michelob Ultra, Superior Light Beer, and Docomo Pacific. Just more great reasons to tune in and turn on so you'll fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
Ekangok ega zan edza kifinut samoro giasuntun samoro kada dia gi KUAM News. Gatsa gi idaling na programa gi alas 8 gi egan gi esla tomorrow streaming radio pedi KUAM News YouTube na channel para linabian ng fasilidad mizo. Malata fanita para mas informasyon mentas sa diligencia isang presyosa na kulturata entry sesultan na setbi kada dia ilingwahin natibo ni Itzamoro. Iasunto gifinut samoro sa nina fafatu zan pedalinunudzi ni familian mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank.
We got your 6
at 6 a.m. with The Link on Breeze 93.9 FM. Bree and I connect you with all the latest news and information you need to know to start your day.
Then check back with Guam's news leader at 6 p.m. for the day's top headlines with KUAM News Primetime.
From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and everything else in between with KUAM Digital, we got your 6.
KUAM Communications and Denny's Guam presents Mamapreneurs, a special multi-platform series throughout the month of May showcasing mothers who are also local entrepreneurs in our community. In commemoration of Mother's Day, during weekdays in May, we'll feature daily profiles of these multitasking mamas and their businesses. Additionally, on KUAM News Primetime every Monday in May, we'll showcase a different enterprising mamapreneur. Check out our online directory of all these businesses as well on KUAM.com. And if you know a mamapreneur we should feature, send us a message on social media or email executiveproducer@kuam.com. Mamapreneurs is brought to you by Denny's. Guam's Diner is always open.
Catch SportsLink on the KUAM News Morning Show, The Link, every Friday to hear about the latest in sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. SportsLink, brought to you each week by Cure Alkaline Water, airs every Friday across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Tune into the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM on KUAM TV 11, live streaming through the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook, and Instagram. SportsLink is hosted by Dave Delgado through KUAM Sports, and he will make sure that everyone knows what is happening on the field, in the gyms, and everywhere in between.
Looking for TV schedules, upcoming sports, or special presentations, or what you may have missed over the busy week you had? Well, look no further than KUAM Digital Digest. This weekly emailed newsletter puts all kinds of information in the hands of subscribers each and every week. Just subscribe and we will make sure you keep up with your favorites and stay informed and entertained throughout it all. Go to KUAM.com, click on the newsletter tab, give us your email address, and you are all set. Brought to you in digital partnership with King's Restaurant and Ruby Tuesday Guam. It's the KUAM Digital Digest, your weekly guide to the latest information and best entertainment on the stations and platforms of KUAM.
Listen, watch, and learn from the daily Tomorrow News updates from KUAM News. Catch them on The Link during the 8 o'clock hour, streaming online on Isla Radio, or on the KUAM News YouTube channel for your convenience. Tune in and stay informed, all while preserving our precious culture through the daily use of our native Chamorro language. Tomorrow News updates are brought to you by your familia at First Hawaiian Bank.
.658. Welcome to The Link. Good morning. We're KUAM FM, Agotni, Guam. Morning Facebook Live. Good morning. Good morning, The Breeze. 93.9 FM. At Ken Sanity. Standing in for Jason Solis. Good morning, Ken.
Morning.
Wanted to bend your ear a little bit. What do you think of this, both of the military bases on island dropping the mask mandate for fully vaccinated people?
I mean, if that's in line with the guidelines of
CDC or whoever, then I guess that's acceptable.
Right. Well, the CDC guidance, you're right, says that fully vaccinated people don't have to wear masks. I believe indoors or outdoors, and only when social distancing. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
Well, how about off the base? Are they?
They have to wear it off the base.
I mean,
I wonder how they check that though.
I don't know.
Like if someone going around with a mask, hey, let me see your vaccination.
Oh no, yeah, that's a good point. How do they check that?
I don't know.
Isn't there an app or something?
I don't know.
Can't add
It's
it
a
to the Guam
microchip.
COVID alert app,
It's
or-
a microchip. What they do is they scan you, and then if they pick up the microchip that's in the vaccine, that sets off a. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. They scan you. Yep, he's got it. Okay, he's good. No, but I'm wondering, how do they enforce that? Do they just go on the? Is it honor system? You just go on the assumption that people without masks are fully vaccinated?
I don't know. That's
Because
a
it's
good
the military
question.
and everyone follows the rules.
I mean, it makes you wonder too, like how that will be here,
Right.
Like outside, in the public when we've reached that point too.
And is that a personal thing for you? Do you feel? I mean, because what happened to HIPAA?
I'm a little more conservative. I like to wear the mask. So
Right. No, but I mean, do you want people to know if you are or aren't fully vaccinated? I mean, no one says, "Hey, you have your tetanus shot."
That's true. It's true, but I mean,
I know it's different. I'm just wondering.
I don't know. It's a different world we live in.
It's
so,
crazy. Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I personally, I'm all for it. I think
You're all for
the information being
Public-
readily accessible.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, there you go.
Good question.
It is. Well, I put a little poll up on my IG.
Oh, there you go.
Let me check it
Yeah,
out.
I'm gonna put that on.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
useful. Thanks. That's a good question.
I was just like, let me read it. What it says here. Yeah. So it's just a little nothing impromptu. And if you guys are just if you're just tuning in, well, thanks for joining us. Yeah. So the bases, both Anderson Air Force. I think Anderson Air Force Base started it. And they said, hey, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask, indoor or out, but you have to wear a mask when social distancing is not possible. And so, I posted it up on my Insta, and it was 73% do not agree with it. 27% do. But, I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, just following the rules, right? So
Yeah. But then again, any military
I'm not the
person.
rule maker,
I know. I'm just curious. Like, do you think? Next question: do you think that? What about out here, in the real world, beyond the fence line? Are we ready for no mask mandate for fully vaccinated people?
I don't know. How
How do you feel about it, though? How do you feel when you see someone going around without a mask?
I feel awkward.
Yeah.
I guess, a bit. But there are a lot of other factors that should determine whether or not the mask mandate is necessary, right? Like,
Right.
I guess the vaccine, how many people have the vaccine,
Right.
I don't know how
What about like positives and stuff? Do you think that should play a role into determining whether or
For
not
sure.
we lift a mask mandate?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think we have the CAR score in place for a reason, right? To help analyze and parse through data in an effective way to determine whether or not we are effectively getting through this period of time, right?
Right.
Whether we're effectively combating the virus, so to speak. So, I think if you see an elevation in the CAR score, then you should be more concerned, right? You pull back on.
Yeah, I mean,
on
I
the
don't know, because
liberties
the
that
CAR
we
score,
check.
like in this latest surge, it didn't even really wiggle that much. You know what I mean? So I'm not even confident that it really reflects the boots on the ground scenario, because he's pulling different numbers from different places and running them through the math machine and coming out with this metric. But again, I don't feel like the CAR score matched the seriousness that we saw a few weeks back when the governor came out and they announced those clusters with Subaki and the karaoke bar.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I'm just saying it doesn't match to me. 7:04. Let's go to the KUAM News Zoom room where We definitely appreciate him going to work a little bit early, unless you show up at 7 at the office every day, Tim. If you do, wow, you need to get a medal. Unmute.
Well, there's a lot of traffic on the G1, so I try to get here as soon as possible. So sometimes I get lucky.
Right on. Tim Huggan, of course, Veteran Affairs Administrator. And Tim, I guess we kind of wanted to just start with this release that you guys had come out with, and this is Wreaths Across America. This is a national day, right? You want to tell us a little bit more about it, Tim?
Yeah, so I tell you, this is something that I'm surprised that we haven't been doing this for our cemeteries, both the East Agania and the PD Cemetery. This program is nationwide. It started with Arlington. And what happens on every December 18th annually, they place these wreaths on the graves of the fallen ones at all the state veteran cemeteries and the national cemeteries. So on Guam, we have currently 5,870 plus plots, crypts, and columbariums on Guam that we would like to be able to honor all of those that have been laid to rest. So this is the one day outside of Memorial Day and Veterans Day for us to honor, pay tribute to, and give our respects and prayers to these individuals that are being honored on that day.
Right, and so this is actually the ceremony, and I'm guessing the ceremony where the wreaths will actually be laid is that going to be in December, Tim?
Yes, December 18th.
Okay.
And so what happens nationwide on the 18th, and it's going to be the 19th for Guam, and we had to choose one or the other. So when Arlington does the moment of silence before they start placing the wreaths, the entire nation, who's also doing the ceremony on the same day, everybody pauses for, I guess, 3 minutes, whatever the time is. But we won't be able to do that because I informed them that that'll be like 3 o'clock in the morning for us. But we will honor and do the moment of silence on Guam before, we'll just we're going to follow the agenda.
I saw here that you're looking at starting a fundraising group for wreath sales.
Yes, so the program is, number one, the wreaths are not free, but they have, the Wreaths Across America Association, they actually have a great program. Number one is for the nonprofit and, more importantly, the veteran organizations on Guam are able to benefit and grow their organization. The cost of the wreaths are $15. $10 will be for revenue to help pay for whatever, a new clubhouse or certain things at their organization, or some way to fund their mission to help the veterans of Guam. Then this would be the ideal way to generate some money. They'll get $5 for every wreath that they purchase, right? There's also a program where if you buy two, get one free. So that's the two programs that they have. So what we're trying to do is work with the nonprofit organizations on Guam, work with the corporate agencies and companies on Guam, and of course the families that will be purchasing on their own. We've already had a number of organizations and families that have purchased and donated. So we want to be able to, as best as possible, be able to place a wreath on every single plot, crypt, and columbarium. That's the idea.
Do you anticipate being able to raise enough money to do that?
I think so. On June 3rd, we're gonna do a press conference where we're gonna, go into more detail on Wreaths Across America, the organizations that are involved, what we're asking the community to rally behind, So we're also gonna, give timelines and events that are going to be taking place in order to support this great fundraising effort to honor those. As an example, when and if possible, we'd like to do a concert series that will help generate revenue to pick up some of the costs for some of these reefs. I will say the two companies
hold
that
on there,
have
because
committed.
you said the C word, Tim. And I'm not talking about COVID. You said concert.
No, I said if we're able to, depending on the time, we could, do a small, maybe concert type series.
Right. And you're talking about maybe
mean,
like ballroom. You get Ben Lam Lam or whoever to perform and charge tickets.
Yeah, or maybe they go on KOAM
Right
live,
on.
or and you guys have one of those. You know what I mean?
The
and
telethon.
then we can have like a telethon kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no, the artists are all veterans.
Yes.
You better not take my
Something
idea.
like that. Nothing extravagant. I mean, something that needs to stir the interest and generate some money.
Yeah, good call.
It's for a great cause, and I'm sure majority of the community would not hesitate to donate $5, $10,
right,
to help for this.
Tim, let's switch gears just a little bit here. I don't know if you saw the senators. Well, I'm pretty sure you did see that the senators met with the governor, and they submitted a priority list of spending for the American Rescue Plan Act funding, and they had some money in there for Veterans Affairs.
How much?
I want to say it was about $5 million, but have you? And I'm going to pop up the document because I got to check it. I don't know it offhand. But have you had any conversation with the Gov about any of this ARP funding going over to the local VA?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, I had a conference call. Well, actually, I had my monthly meeting with her yesterday.
Oh.
So yeah, we are. When it first came out, maybe about a month ago or end of April, what is it, May? Yeah, or beginning of May, the governor had asked each agency to come up with a supplemental budget using the ARP funding on what's going to take your agency, to improve the services, capital improvement, manpower issues, whatever it's going to take to get your agency up to speed, to make it more efficient so that your agency can deliver the services to the people of Guam. So I did my due diligence. I submitted my budget for Guam veterans, and I'm still hoping that I can get majority of that.
What programs could you kind of shore up with funding, and how much are you looking at?
Okay, so not sure if you're familiar with the history budgetary-wise with the Office of Veterans Affairs. So basically this agency, and I'm gonna say I can, get out on an edge or on the limb and say, for the past 10 years, this agency has been operating less than $700,000 a year. And at its lowest, I think it was $300,000. For 20,000 plus veterans on Guam, I don't know what you expect to deliver when you give an agency that type of money to operate. But I am thankful for the governor for allowing us to keep our doors open and doing everything she can. The governor has been able to transfer $150,000 over to us so we can do the capital improvements, repairs for the chapel and the administration building. That was key because that is allowing us to become compliant 100% with the National Cemetery Administration, so that we're able to be in the green and apply for the grants for the cemetery expansion improvement. That includes both cemeteries, one East Agania and one in PD. So our request, you always want to shoot for the stars and hope for the clouds. So I submitted a $9.1 million budget, and what that budget includes is about $6 million in CIP money for us to build a new building, one-stop center for veterans, expand the cemetery, erect a few monuments, and things that are not covered under the grant stipulations and requirements, right, that we can fund locally.
Yeah.
A couple other programs that we wanted to stand up, which does not exist because we don't have the budget, would be, right now, the VA is made up of 3 areas of focus, right? One is the veteran benefits, one is the national cemeteries, and number 3 is something that the local state office, my office, does not represent or have a person or a program for, is veterans health, right?
Yeah.
So what this person actually becomes is a medical, I don't know if referral officer. It's more of a liaison that works with the individual veterans, that works with CBOC, that works with Tripler, with whatever ailments or regimen, prescriptions. So this is a person out of our office, 2 people that I've discussed and spoke to the governor about. And so this is something that would greatly impact our services to the veterans, help them along the way to recovery and getting themselves in good health for the rest of their years. A couple other things that we focus in that budget is to increase the number of veteran service officers or representatives that we have here from 4 up to 10.
Right.
And then we're also working on our, one of the things, this office is all about records, right? So you got military records, you got medical records, you got vital records. So this agency also has been in the Stone Age in regards to case management and records management.
Right.
So what we've developed here is a brand new records management program, which we're waiting for the software and infrastructure to get put in place here so that we can go digital on all our records. We're also working with the state of Utah Veterans Affairs, and we're in the final days. I can say days now because it's just a matter of a signature and review. And we're done reviewing, so we just need to sign the document. So what we did was we reached out for a best practice in the Far West veteran states, and the state of Utah had volunteered to help us with the system that they have. It's called the Veterans Information System. They've helped 4 or 5 other states get out of the Stone Age and into the digital age, the internet superhighway. We have already discussed, and OTEC has gracefully been able to spot us, one of their analysts, and Frank Lujan has been very cooperative and helping us and providing his insight on what is required for us infrastructure-wise. And I have my staff working with the Utah State Veterans Office to get the software. So what's that going to do for us, Chris, is that we're going to be able to upload all our information. We'll be able to have the data registry digital. We'll be able to have the case management digital and the historical records digital. And we'll be able to communicate directly via this software system with Department of Revenue and Taxation and Public Health for the records that are required in order for the veteran to file for their claims and their benefits. That's it in a nutshell, dude.
Wow, that's a lot. Tim, where are the records now? They're not over at DeWitt, right?
No, they're not. They're
Okay.
right next door to me.
Okay.
When I walk out of my office, I basically run into a cabinet. But yes, we don't have any records over there.
Right. Tim, okay, last question because we got to run. But what are you doing to prep for Memorial Day?
Memorial Day, yes. First of all, I want to thank all the nonprofit veteran organizations and a couple of the agencies, and I am overwhelmed with the amount of volunteers and organizations that are willing to and have been coming down to help us prepare for Memorial Day weekend, which is a daunting task because we only have one permanent employee at the cemetery, and I thank Department of Labor for assisting us in providing additional manpower. Three more bodies, but 3 is better than none, right? So what they've been doing is helping us with the cleanliness of the head markers of the plots and the crypts. Columbariums are new, so that's just like maintenance touch-up before the weekend. Right. But we are in the process, and we have been water blasting, and we're going to paint this weekend and all of next week the crypts. We have a number of organizations volunteering to help with the landscaping. There's also the Boy Scouts of America that are also going to assist with the flag placements on the plots.
Right.
And the ceremony is going to be at, I believe, 10 a.m. We meet weekly, the committee, along with the Veterans Commission. And I want to thank Joe St. Augustine, Dan Mendiola, and Roland Adat for their awesome support and partnership since they've taken office and giving me their support here at the Guam Office of Veterans Affairs.
Tim, so what's going to be the protocols for the ceremony? Is it going to be open to the public, or because of COVID, are you limiting attendance?
Okay, so the congregating limitations is now set at 100. So actually, we were planning for 50. But now that the governor and public health has lifted that to 100, we're adjusting fire and we're setting up accordingly. And so underneath the main, at the flag circle, where we have the main ceremony and the canopies up, that will be limited to 100 people within that area of congregation. The individuals, the general public that's going to be coming, will be allowed to be where their family member, loved one is buried, and everybody needs to follow the protocols, and you must wear your mask on that day.
Okay. Well, Tim, thanks for stopping by. Sounds like there's a lot in the works, and we'll catch up with you in a couple weeks to follow up.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. It's always fun to be on your show, Chris, and thank you for reaching out to me, and have a great day.
Yep. Got it. We have the funnest show. It's called The Link, 7:23. Quick break, and we're coming back with our buddy Sean Gumatauto to catch up with him and find out what he's thinking about this disappearing deficit and what's going on with his podcast and his plans to travel. I know that he's heading off island. 7:24, Thursday, May 20th. We're back with more of The Link next. Good morning.
Uno Go, delivering meals from your favorite restaurants and more, including delivering sodas and adult beverages from the Bottle Shack. Visit uno-go.com or download the app today. Also follow them on Instagram and Facebook. KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time each Friday to talk food, taste food, and bring you all the latest and greatest in food from King's Restaurants and Ruby Tuesday Guam, old faves, new hits, and everything on the menu in between. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link.
best malasadas in Hawaii. A fact not lost on Daryl, whose brother Byron is cooking the onaga he caught at his secret fishing spot with his girlfriend Malia, who used to work for the Shave Ice Guy, whose second cousin Vince drives the school bus ridden by Calais, whose auntie makes the best malasadas in Hawaii. Everything here is connected, and with the new First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, you can stay just as connected to your finances, and it all starts with yes.
GU Self Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
KUAM Communications and Denny's Guam presents Mamapreneurs, a special multi-platform series throughout the month of May showcasing mothers who are also local entrepreneurs in our community. In commemoration of Mother's Day, during weekdays in May, we'll feature daily profiles of these multitasking mamas and their businesses. Additionally, on KUAM News Primetime every Monday in May, we'll showcase a different enterprising mamapreneur. Check out our online directory of all these businesses as well on KUAM.com. And if you know a mamapreneur we should feature, send us a message on social media or email executiveproducer@KUAM.com. Mamapreneurs is brought to you by Denny's. Guam's Diner is always open.
As May is a month to celebrate mothers and everything they do, let's not forget that many parents in our community are struggling to make ends meet and provide for their children with basic necessities. The KUAM Care Force is partnering with the Salvation Army for a very special drive this May, benefiting our precious and most vulnerable in our community. Through Friday, May 28th, we'll be collecting diapers, formula, infant toiletries, baby food, and other new items for infants and toddlers at our KUAM studios in Harmon on weekdays between noon and 4 p.m. Show you care and help families in need this spring. Due to the consideration of our current public health emergency, donations will not be accepted outside of hours specified. Curbside acceptance of donations is acceptable by calling 637-5826 upon arrival.
Steel Athletics has joined the KUAM Care Force as a community partner in the Mama and Denny's Drive. You may also drop donations to their location in Timoning on any day of the week. See KUAM.com for designated times.
My name's Chris at Ken Sanity over here, standing in for Jason Solis.
Good morning.
Yo. Catch us tomorrow, Feed Me Fridays. We went to Ruby Tuesday. Another bro date.
It was a good one.
It was.
I love the bro dates.
Yeah, it's a good time for us, man. You're a good partner. You don't talk much. You know, what we really want is we just want to sit there and be on our phones together. And I feel bad. I'll be like, oh, we're just sitting here looking at our phones. I look around. It's like everyone's doing it. Okay, so we go places in public together to ignore each other. Right on. That's the essence of the bro date. Bring on another one of our bros here, Sean Gumatata. Man, you know, I was kind of feeling bad this morning, Sean, because, darn it, this administration, they come out with an announcement, a huge announcement, like deficit disappears. We went from like an $83 million deficit to now it's just a $1 million deficit. But, of course, when they make an announcement like that, it's not like... I didn't really see anybody rushing to be like, yeah, hey, good job. Most people were like, wait, how did you do that? And this... and, you know, full disclosure, I don't know anything about government finances, which I think is good because, you know, just keep it simple. So to me, I don't know, an $83 million deficit, Sean, is that like you owe $83 million in bills, layman's terms?
Yeah, maybe they needed a bro date with you that could be able to figure out exactly what they were speaking about. I'm going to get Mr. Byrne on later today, but yes, you know, last year they were able to close the gap by half, and then the report today that they closed it even further. I'm still... well, one, I'm very curious, right? Because I only have three things, Chris, I think that had me thinking about this. First off, when you have a rainy day fund set aside in just budget year 18 and 20, but nothing in 2021, you had a $29 million gap going into the new fiscal year from the last one. And then really just a lot of other hodgepodge, like they appropriated a lot of stuff. How could they possibly have closed that gap? So I guess the question would be, okay, if you have the surplus and you only owe $1 million, doesn't it make sense to pay the $1 million, you're at zero, and then have a plan for the actual, the use of that deficit, the surplus in current operations today? There might be some things they need to pay for.
So again, layman's terms, it's not like we owed $83 million and Lou and Josh are like, here's $82 million. We'll get that other million later. That's not what happened.
No, that's not what happened at all. I think when you think about what the year was like in 2019, I mean, it was gangbusters, right? I mean, everywhere we were all going as a community up until COVID hit was, I mean, you had tourism at its highest peak in a long, I think ever, since the founding of it in the 1970s. You had a lot of spend with the military, which I know Gary Hiles and the group over at DOL would agree. And then just a lot of consumer confidence. People were spending their money. And all of a sudden, it just completely contracts, and now we're at where we're at now. But I'm very surprised how we were able to close that gap so quickly.
So you're saying you're skeptical?
Oh, absolutely. I know Mr. Burns is going to be on later, but he said the same exact thing about a year ago when the audit came out saying we cut that gap. So, okay, well, then if that's the case, okay, we'll move on, pay the $1.5 million in your surplus. That gives you $93 million, and then plan to spend the surplus. I mean, they just refinanced the BPT bond, which I've been saying to all my friends, small business owners like myself, we're carrying that load. And I know there was this push to say, okay, let's go ahead and pay for some of our critical services. But the small businesses on Guam have been suffering. Why don't you just reopen the island, and do it as safely as we can, get the activity going, but don't spend it right away on those services. How about helping out small businesses? The grants from the federal government were there, but maybe not enough for a lot of small businesses that were fell through the cracks. So there's a lot of things they should be kind of focusing on. If you're not going to roll back the BPT, then you might as well help out the small businesses.
Yeah, that's what I thought was interesting was that there was that little asterisk so Nestor did a great story where Ed Byrne was a good story. Yeah, Ed Byrne was like, yeah, we did it, and and no business could survive with that big of a deficit, and the government's like a business. So, but then he had said, but that doesn't mean we should cut taxes or anything like that.
Right. And I was, gosh, it was over 10 years ago, we were part of an administration that had a pretty high deficit. And then we started to, the policymakers started to take a different tact on how to do bonds and how to, to pay it down. But, it's great that you're closing that gap. Well, now you're in surplus. It's been maybe since the 80s since we've seen such a deficit, a surplus. So it's just how responsible will we all be and how that is spent for sure.
What do you think the role of the federal money is in this big announcement?
I don't think it has that big of a role, but if it does, then okay, then why don't you just take $1.5 million, pay off the balance? Because the money in the American Rescue Act plan can be used to pay for those gaps in government operations. So if you're only $1.5 million from laying in the bank left for your debt, why not? It makes some pretty practical sense. And then prioritize the spending of the surplus whenever. The last time, the last reserve was just only $15 million. So $15 million in Gov Guam world is pretty much a kind of a drop in the bucket when you consider you have just over a $775 million general fund budget. So it's pretty small, and so hold on to it for as long as you can. I think that's what Mr. Burns saying.
Sean, switch gears a little bit here, but I know that you're taking a trip, and I feel like a lot of people are traveling, Bree, now that we're it's summer, right? And people are getting vaccinated. But did that kind of play into your? I mean, I know you're doing a college send off, right, Sean? But do you kind of see that too? That a lot of people are leaving island.
Yeah, I would say that because. When you look at the, how many people are getting vaccinated and traveling, not just from here, maybe elsewhere, we have a lot of college kids who are having to return back to campus. I teach at UOG, and so we're going to face-to-face in the fall. There's going to be some push to get them to do, vaccinations for them. But a lot of school systems are doing the same. So they're getting it done and then getting back. So how do you do that? You're going to have to get on a plane I was just watching some of the coverage in the network news on the reopening of the state of New York and how, they are slowly getting opened up, but Florida, Texas still open. California opens up on June 15th. So for you're right, college trip, a lot of one in our factor to plan was, quarantine, any issues like that the state of California might have. And then obviously on the way back, I'm very happy that the governor's going to relax some of her rules relative to quarantine, come straight home after from the airport versus being, I know Sabrina is probably going to punch me in the face for saying, well, get back home when she had to spend a week in quarantine at the Dusit. But it's just a good thing for everybody to ease those restrictions a bit. Maybe it'll also motivate people to get vaccinated. I think that's the big one too.
Right. Well, what do you think though, as we reopen the island and, the tourism equation still being written really, but are we seeing enough of an exodus from people wanting to just get the hell out of Guam because we've been, locked down and the pandemic and there's just that travel excitement? But do you think that it's going to cause enough of an exodus where people are taking all their money and going off island and spending it somewhere else that we could see some negative impacts here?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of pent up demand, right? Everyone's a little bit antsy. They've been stuck at home and where they just want to try to get to normal somehow. So what is that normal? It could be getting on a plane and going somewhere else. Now going the other way and bringing to Guam, I mean, you guys have been talking about on the link, Taiwan, Korea, Japan, our major source markets are pretty much going through some waves of COVID. So that's going to take a little bit of time. I think I was watching the link and when the guys in the CNMI said that South Korea is trying to get to the CNMI, that bodes well for Guam too. But they're ahead of it because they're in that travel bubble. We're not. So hopefully we'll be able to get our tourism officials kind of lined up and looking at the travel bubble really closely. I don't know if I'm a big fan of giving away vaccines right away until, we're only at 45% of the population being vaccinated.
Yeah.
I think we should kind of hold on to get everybody here and maybe, a couple expats because they're not really that big blip in the number. I think the USVI had about 1,000 that they were tracking. So it's really small in comparison to what the total amount of vaccinations could be.
Well, Sean, let's talk about your podcast. You dropping any new episode before you leave?
Yeah, actually, my boss is saying I have to do podcasts every day or every week until I get on the plane, and then I can probably do some more in California. But at some point,
you got to earn your
week
vacation.
I'm talking about.
His boss is the wife,
yeah,
guys.
Yeah. So the plan this week's podcast, which I'm pretty much done with, will be talking about the end of the school year, primarily graduations. We got the high school graduations, which I'm glad it's almost over for us. But can I just say, Chris and Bree, to my students at the University of Guam, especially in my communications classes, congratulations on a good semester. And we're excited about the class of 2021 who are leaving the University of Guam into this pretty, interesting world we are in. Remember last year they did their graduation, but they went right to work, especially the nursing students. Yeah. So they are really on the kind of that cusp of what this new kind of world will look like, and we're excited for the UOG graduates and those UOG students who are toughing it out. I know my students are probably listening right now. They listen to the podcast. I think they're all excited about getting a little bit of a break before they jump right back into face-to-face learning, hopefully in the fall.
Right. Well, Sean, thanks. I hope we get to catch up with you before you leave, but definitely appreciate your 2 cents on this $83 million disappearing deficit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm hoping to listen to Mr. Byrne. I'm really curious about, again, we had such gaps in policy, and how in the heck did they pull it off? Well, I mean, it's, they called it fiscal discipline, but I'm still kind of concerned, like, how do we do that with a $29 million gap? I mean, there's places like the judiciary, all of the University of Guam and GCC said that they're running a little bit light. So how do they pull it off without giving those guys the money that they need?
Good question. Maybe the governor whipped out her wand.
Well, hold on. If they're gonna pull out wands, I mean, where's your sound?
Yeah, I gotta go get mine.
Yeah, you gotta get your wand involved. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping. I mean, I don't know what magic they're going. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of big considerations, and I'm very curious. I think everyone should be, because it's going to affect how we all do things, from small businesses to getting back to school in the fall. How is all that going to be affected by this surplus?
Alakazam, Alakavir, make this $83 million deficit disappear.
That was good, man.
Right on. Thanks, Sean.
All right.
See ya.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
You too,
Keep
my
up
friend.
the good work over there in the link.
There you go. Sean Gumatato. Hey, quick break, and I think we're coming back with Ed Byrne and Lester Carlson next on The Link. Good morning.
The world of television is
Family platter of fried chicken? Check. Tray of red rice? Check. Birthday cake? Check. 1 case of water? Check. 12-pack of beer? Check. 2 cases of Pepsi?
Check. When you have a long checklist but are short on time, we got you. Get it delivered by us. Order on the app or website at uno-go.com. Guam on demand.
Shoot, I forgot the paper product.
Oh wait, UnoGo has that too. KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time each Friday to talk food, taste food, and bring you all the latest and greatest in food from King's Restaurants and Ruby Tuesday Guam, old faves, new hits, and everything on the menu in between. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link.
As May is a month to celebrate mothers and everything they do, let's not forget that many parents in our community are struggling to make ends meet and provide for their children with basic necessities. The KUAM Care Force is partnering with the Salvation Army for a very special drive this May, benefiting our precious and most vulnerable in our community. Through Friday, May 28th, we'll be collecting diapers, formula, infant toiletries, baby food, and other new items for infants and toddlers at our KUAM studios in Harmon on weekdays between noon and 4 p.m. Show you care and help families in need this spring. Due to the consideration of our current public health emergency, donations will not be accepted outside of hours specified. Curbside acceptance of donations is acceptable by calling 637-5826 upon arrival.
Steel Athletics has joined the KUAM Care Force as a community partner in the Mama and Nenny's Drive. You may also drop donations to their location in Tamuning on any day of the week. See KUAM.com for designated times.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
I decided to get vaccinated because just thinking about all the lives lost from COVID and everyone on island that contracted the illness, I realized that I need to do my part, not just to protect myself, but our community. And I also realized we're still not out of the woods with variants that are out there. I want to be safe, and I want to keep my family safe. I'm Tyler Matinani, and I'm a proud member of the vaccination.
Join the vaccination. Scan and plan. For more information, go to KUAM.com.
Addis Trust and Investment, location, service, trust, is a proud partner of the KUAM Care Force.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
KUAM Communications and Denny's Guam presents Mamapreneurs, a special multi-platform series throughout the month of May showcasing mothers who are also local entrepreneurs in our community. In commemoration of Mother's Day, during weekdays in May, we'll feature daily profiles of these multitasking mamas and their businesses. Additionally, on KUAM News Primetime every Monday in May, we'll showcase a different enterprising mamapreneur. Check out our online directory of all these businesses as well on KUAM.com. And if you know a mamapreneur we should feature, Twitter, send us a message on social media, or email executiveproducer@koam.com. Mamapreneurs is brought to you by Denny's. Guam's Diner is always open.
Hey, good morning, 746. Link.
Sunny side or yellow side, I made it. I'll be gone before the clock hits 5.
It's Thursday, May 20th. Good morning. Morning, Bree.
Good morning.
We had Rosemary Laguatnia, one of our prized Link fam members. Question. How can the governor strongly indicate that the RISE Act is unfair to GovGuam workers, yet she does not believe in using the ARP to pay critical workers because her employees have been receiving hazardous pay? Critical workers on the private side receive no hazardous pay throughout this pandemic.
Is she saying that she doesn't want to pay the premium pay?
Well, we had
For
brought
the
up
critical service
the
workers?
premium pay, and last I heard was at that press conference after the meeting with the senators, and I believe she said that she did support it, but that there were going to be issues with determining who and what positions are critical or essential. But that's easy to do because there's actually a list of critical.
The Treasury guidance kind of says.
It's right there in black and white.
Yeah, I think even the congressman was mentioning like restaurant workers.
Right, but I think the problem is that if the governor, pays this premium pay, it's going to take a big chunk out of whatever plans she already has for the ARP. Because remember, she's supposed to have a plan allegedly that no one's ever seen. Isn't that crazy? You could be a sitting governor and tell everyone that you have a plan, but that no one has seen it. So this premium pay thing, I don't know how much would that even be? But you know what? It's doable. It's in the guidance. It totally can be done. So I guess the question remains is if the willpower is there. And I don't even know, because at that press conference, it didn't sound like the governor was really, really on board. Because if she was, we would hear about it. We would hear that, But instead, like Bree said, it's just the congressman and a couple of senators who were talking about this premium pay. Oh, I don't know, Rosemary. I don't know. I wish I did. Tony Kimball comments. This is kind of what we were talking about earlier, Ken. We don't know who is vaccinated, so wear your mask regardless. Stay safe, Guam. Right on, Tony. 7:48. The big busy day at the legislature today, Bree. As there's a couple budget hearings. I believe public health's budget hearing is this afternoon.
No, the public health is at 9:30 this morning.
Okay.
And then the Guam Memorial Hospital is at 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Thank you. Yeah. So those are pretty big, right?
Yeah, I think they're pretty big.
And then, there's also regular session, and I sent you some stuff about what's on the agenda. There's a bunch of bills, including this insular cases resolution. There's Bill 47, which is a GVB grant reform. Bill 85, which is the Guam Ethics Commission reform bill. Bill 89, increasing threshold for small purchases.
Bill 71, that's the women procurement preference. I think that was introduced by Senator Amanda Shelton. The governor talked about that during her State of the Island address, and of course, Amanda introduced it.
Right, yep.
Make it happen.
That's kind of like, so if the governor says something, usually Senator Shelton or Senator or Vice Speaker are the ones that like push it out. You know what I mean? But yeah, so what is like, if you're a woman, you instantly win the bid or what?
No, I don't think it works that way.
Okay. So I guess it's modeled similarly to some of these like veteran-owned business preferences for procurement, right? I'm not going to say anything else. All I'm going to say is the future is Femalawan. That's it. It's 7:50. Guys, let's go do Cover Me. On the way on the show, though, guys, we've got Chima Mbakwem, who is the acting chief public health officer. He's coming on just to kind of do an update ahead of their budget hearing, and there's a lot to talk about. The quarantine. What's the deal with the quarantine? What is the deal with the quarantine? Because we released hundreds of people out of quarantine, and I know that they said that they're going to, put out a bid or something for a new...
They've been saying that.
They've been saying it, yeah.
We spoke with Jenna months ago, remember?
Yeah.
And they were working on that bid RFP for QFAC, ISOFAC, or combination pack. So
yeah, that's really interesting because we saw this coming. So you got to wonder again, like, what are they doing down there at Adelup? That you know that we're going to lift the quarantine. It's been in discussion for months. So why wouldn't you come out ahead of this? There's just got to be something with Cortec making money on these quarantine facilities because, man, they made a lot of money. I'm not saying that, it wasn't needed because obviously we had to put these people somewhere, but Jesus Christ, bro. I mean, anytime you owe $20 million and that's not even the full bill, that's a lot of money. So right now what's happening is I guess they're still getting paid. Who's even in quarantine? Do we know?
people that aren't fully vaccinated.
Yep. Should have got vaccinated, guys. Sorry. So we'll ask Chima when he comes on, how many people are in quarantine? Is it feasible? It's not even sustainable for us to be paying because I think we even pay for the unoccupied rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what a sweetheart deal, man. Ken?
I don't know. Still trying to get over the 85 million thing.
Ken is still trying to... And Ken, guys, just so you know, Ken's sanity is a math wizard. Don't even sell yourself short. No. Come on, bro. You are. You went to St. John's, right? Yeah. Anybody who goes to St. John's, they're totally qualified to talk about deficits.
No, and FD.
They teach that in like first grade. Oh, and FD. Oh, excuse me.
But yeah, no, that's interesting. So
yeah, so he's basically saying, because they came on, they're like, oh, $83 million deficit is now all the way down to $1 million. And I don't know, in my mind, I just thought, oh, if you owe $83 million and you get it down to $1 million, that means you paid $82 million. But no, that's not what it means.
Wait, so it's $83 million down to $1 million, and then you have a $43 million surplus.
Yeah.
What? I'm confused, man.
So,
I think it's awesome already.
Wouldn't you have...
it's positive, right?
Yeah, they're making it really positive.
Wouldn't you not have... Wouldn't it be zero if you have a surplus?
Yeah, I guess. It would, you're right, because you would minus the $1.5 million from the $43 million surplus. Hey, good thing we're not running the government's finances.
What?
I'm terrible at math.
We need
It's not even math, it's experience. Once you like figure out how it all works, then it's easy money.
Easy money.
But just no one in here.
I'm lost.
No one in here got it figured out. And it's just you don't know because and that's kind of where we are right now is nobody really knows like what our true financial position is. I mean, yeah, with this federal money, God, it's a blessing. It's such a blessing it's really a blessing. I mean, yeah, it's a blessing for the people of Guam, but it's also like a re-election blessing for Lou and Josh, right? Yeah, I mean, you're getting $550 million, and then on top of that, you're getting many hundreds of millions of dollars more, right? And then you have other agencies individually like education, airport, also getting big chunks of money. And while it doesn't necessarily mean that we're all getting money out here, I mean, you know, outside of the...
That's the way it's supposed to be. That's what it means. It's our money. It's not like her money.
No. I'm saying, yeah, but it's going to improve the services, right? And then whatever we get, people are going to be happy. And when people are happy, they either don't vote or they don't vote the right way.
Well, I mean, it could always be not, and we could still hold that $83 million deficit. In which case, that would.
And that's what Ed Byrne was saying
today, right?
Yeah,
So,
Ed Byrne was saying
I
that.
think,
That's why we can't roll back the BPT or do anything with the taxes because it's going to jeopardize where we are right now. Yep. So no matter what, I bet the Chamber of Commerce is like hard eye roll.
I'm excited to see what he says.
Yeah, well, he's coming on pretty soon. 7:55. Let's go ahead and do Cover Me. Okay. This is brought to you by our. Do I even have a Cover Me? Yes, I do. This is brought to you by our friends at Burger King, where they have this cool thing that goes on Mondays, where if you're the 10th car in line at the drive-thru, you get a free Whopper. I'm just going to make sure because that doesn't sound right. Right? That's what they're just going to give away, free Whoppers? Just because what? You waited in line?
You just got to get 9 friends like, hey, let's go to the
Right on.
drive-thru real quick. And
Right
just
on.
meet up somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, no,
I'll be
'cause
last.
BK's drive-thru is popping sometimes, so you could just do it on your own. But yeah, it actually says it right here in black and white. It's not a typo. Thanks for driving through Mondays. Every 10th car gets a free Whopper at BK Hagatnya and Tumon Bay. So it is written in the book of BK. It's also brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Don't worry, I'll remind you guys on Monday. Because it's Thursday now. I know that deficit you guys probably blew a few brain cells listening to us talk about the deficit. I'm probably going to get these texts later. I get these texts sometimes where it's like, dude, I was yelling at the radio when you guys were talking about this or that. So send them now. Let's get over with. Send them now. It's 7:56. Cover Me. We got this. Today's Cover Me is by Hunley, and it's brought to you by Docomo Pacific and Burger King. All right, that's Hunley with Burger King and Docomo Pacific's Cover Me. We're back on KUAM TV right after the break. This is The Link. Good morning.
We got your 6.
At 6 a.m. with The Link on Breeze 93.9 FM. Bree and I connect you with all the latest news and information you need to know to start your day.
Then check back with Guam's news leader at 6 p.m. for the day's top headlines with KUAM News Primetime.
From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and everything else in between with KUAM Digital, we got your 6.
Good morning, Guam. Good morning, KUAM TV. My name is Chris.
I'm Sabrina.
This is the link. At Ken Sanity is right there, still crunching the numbers. Good morning, KUAM TV. It's Thursday, May 20th, year of our Lord 2021. Ken Sanity, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chris.
Thank you. In case you're just joining us, first of all, where you been? Second, good morning on you. Jason Salas is on leave. It's his second day of leave, and we have the very talented, very capable Ken San Nicholas at Ken Sanity, and he's our digital content guy.
Yeah, I guess we call it.
Sorry, I
call it
totally
that.
screwed up your title. What's your
position.
title? What's your title?
Yeah, I'm the social media director.
Oh,
So, yeah.
excuse me, I
There
undersold
you
you.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the social media director. Okay, a big part of our social media team, our Edward R. Murrow Award-winning social media team. Thank you. East West Rental, Cabo Enterprises, ITNE, and Jack in the Box proud to present this episode of The Link. Let's go ahead and get right into it with the news. Coming up, we got Ed Byrne, Lester Carlson, Chima Mbakwem, the acting chief public health officer. It is stacked. So let's get into the news again from the KUAM news team with the very latest. Sabrina Salas Matanani.
Off it, everybody. The Naval Base Guam has joined Anderson Air Force Base in updating its policy and is now also going mask-free. Nestor Lecanto reports.
The Navy announced that effective immediately, fully COVID-vaccinated personnel and patrons will no longer have to wear a mask indoors or outdoors while on NBG installations. The Navy says this aligns with new Department of Defense guidance. Those who are not fully vaccinated, though, must continue to wear a mask indoors and in outdoor settings when social distancing cannot be maintained. When outside of the Naval Base Guam, military personnel, regardless of vaccination status, are required to wear face coverings. In a news release, NBG said it is committed to the health and safety of personnel, family members, and the local community. It will also be hosting a pair of COVID vaccination clinics later this month in conjunction with the U.S. Naval Hospital. They are scheduled for Thursday, May 27 from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the MBG Chapel, and on Saturday, May 29th from 8 a.m. to noon at the Navy Exchange Food Court and Outdoor Dining Area. Individuals must be 18 years and older and possess a valid DoD ID card. The categories include active duty service members, civilian DoD employees, eligible DoD contractors, TRICARE beneficiaries, VA beneficiaries, NEX employees, and commissary employees. Appointments are not required.
The latest numbers, the Joint Information Center reports that 448 test samples taken on the 18th came back with 9 positive for COVID. Of the new cases, 4 were identified through contact tracing, bringing the total of officially reported cases of COVID on Guam to 8,118. There have been 139 deaths, 88 cases are active, and there have been more than 7,800 recoveries. The hospital census is 8 people hospitalized, 1 receiving ICU level of care, 1 on a ventilator. A total of 73,647 people on Guam have been fully vaccinated. With more news, here's Tyler Matanani.
Bonnets and half a day, everyone. I'm Tyler Matanani with your headlines here on The Link. The government's deficit has all but disappeared. That's the word from Adelup Wednesday. The administration says unaudited financial statements for the year ending September 30, 2020 show a general fund surplus of $46.2 million. And that reduces the accumulated deficit to just $1.5 million or 0.2% of revenues.
Following the latest development.
In a statement, the governor said almost completely eliminating what was a more than $83 million deficit when she took office is a direct result of a commitment to fiscal discipline. Administration Director Edward Byrne says the governor, her fiscal team, and agency heads who operated within their budgets should be commended.
Government funds are basically like any other business. If you have a deficit, it means that your liabilities exceed your assets. And no business and no government can operate in that fashion.
But the general fund surplus can also be attributed to a huge influx of federal pandemic assistance.
But a lot of the surplus can be attributed to the administration's goal of getting more federal funds generally into the general fund. We have a lot of access to federal funds. The skill is using them to the last dollar and making sure that we use federal funds where we can instead of local funds. And we were pretty successful in doing that.
Burns says it is the administration's goal and it would be prudent to continue to build a surplus.
We had discussion last year of a rainy day fund so that we had some cushion in the case of a rainy day. Unfortunately, the rainy day came.
But just because there's a surplus and an almost zeroed out deficit, he says, is no reason to think about rolling back taxes, such as the Chamber of Commerce has been calling for.
It's not like it's a continuing thing. You have to work at it all the time, and you have to continue to maximize your revenues and minimize your expenses. Otherwise, you just fall back into where you were. So I would suggest to them that that's not a good plan.
He says the better plan is to continue just as we are, so a rainy day fund can be built up for the next emergency.
Attributed to the near elimination of the government's deficit was the recent refinancing of the business privilege tax bonds. According to GIDA, the sale yielded $63 million in savings. Additionally, Adaloop says the upgrade of Moody's rating to stable from negative also led to the improvement in government finances. The governor says she will work with the legislature to use the savings from the BPT sale to go directly into greater investments into critical services such as healthcare, public safety, education, and into the economy. 2 firefighters assigned to the Fire Prevention Bureau tested positive for COVID-19. Both were not vaccinated. According to GFD, on Tuesday, 1 firefighter began experiencing COVID-like symptoms. The other informed GFD that a close family member had contracted the virus. A PCR test confirmed the firefighters were positive. They remain in home isolation. The remaining Fire Prevention Bureau personnel have been placed in quarantine pending testing, and the affected areas are being decontaminated. Fire Chief Dan Stone says that although these cases have become less frequent due to extra safety measures and a vetted COVID-19 wellness policy, it serves as a reminder that our island is still in a state of emergency. The final bell may have rung for most local schools, but for some GDOE schools, class is still in session. It may be summer, but many of the island's students are working extra hard to either catch up or get ahead. 4,700 students have enrolled in GDOE's summer school program, which is more than twice of what they normally get. But during last night's GEB meeting, Vice Chair Dr. Mary Ocado wanted to know
how many students are falling behind.
She further stated that students will not be able to do the new work if they haven't finished the old work. After much discussion, GEB Chairman Mark Mendiola finally revealed that when it comes to the number of students that have fallen behind,
technically we don't really know.
Although summer school is an opportunity for students to catch up, Deputy Joe Sanchez explained that they don't want to make it punitive.
Where if you're going to fall behind, you have to come to summer school.
And if students choose not to go to summer school.
And what we didn't want to add is we didn't want to add the threat of retention, where if you didn't go to summer school, you're going to be retained. I mean, that was something that was understood way in the beginning, is we didn't want to use this past year as a situation where we would consider if you're going to be behind, we're going to hold you back. I mean, I don't think the department is ready to do something like that, and I don't think the community would accept something like that.
So, if some students that need to catch up do attend summer school, then what happens to the ones that don't? Sanchez says that what the department will do is assess students at the beginning of next school year to see where they stand academically. He says that one of the things they've told students is to start wherever they're at.
We're really trying to push back from language like learning loss, or students are going to be behind, or even terms like catch-up. Because catch-up implies that we're going to try to rush you to get up to speed. And really, we don't need to add that additional stress onto the students and to the teachers.
One thing the department is clear on, though, is that they will not turn any child away if they still want to attend summer school.
If you're interested, we're not going to turn you away because you missed the initial registration time frame.
As for registration for next school year,
We've got 87% of elementary students are expected back for face-to-face, 84% of middle school students, and 82% of high school students.
help is available for those who are struggling to meet their rent and utility payments. Representatives from GPA, GWA, and DOA were at the Barrigada Community Center Wednesday in the first of several village outreach events. They were on hand to answer questions about rental assistance and payment plans for utility customers who are in arrears or are facing disconnection. GPA Personnel Services Administrator James Borja.
It's outreach, right? And we wanted to support our mayors also. We've discussed with them, and they said it would be a good idea, great idea for us to come out and and be there to assist the constituents with any questions. So it's working with our village mayors and ensuring that we are out there for the public, and we're here to help.
The outreach continues Friday, May 21st in PD at the Social Hall, and on Wednesday, May 26th in Dededo at the Senior Citizen Center. Representatives will be there from 9 a.m. to noon. That's the news for now. We'll see y'all at 6 tonight on Primetime.
Into the Zoom room and our phone lines, where we are going to go in more detail and in more discussion about the disappearing deficit. We're going to bring in our Nestor Lecanto into the Zoom room. We also have...
Good day, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning. We have DOA Director Mr. Edward Byrne. Good morning, Mr. Byrne. And we're also bringing in through the phone line Mr. Lester Carlson, the Director of BBMR. Good morning, Lester.
Good morning, Sabrina.
Good morning. All right. I'll let Nestor Lecanto take over from here.
Please do.
All right. So, we did have this conversation yesterday, Ed, albeit briefly, but let's start from the top. Can you explain once again how we arrived at about a little over $1 million now? The deficit was reduced from when the governor took over in, I guess it was 2 years ago. You started at $83 million deficit. Now it's down to about $1 million and change. How did we get here?
Yes, well, deficit reductions don't happen by accident. You have to work at them. So and recall that the budgets that are passed by the legislature are balanced budgets. So if you did nothing and everything came in line with the budget that is passed by the legislature, there would be no change in the deficit or the funds up. So you actually have to work to get a deficit reduced. And in our case, it was a mixture of improving incoming funds, and in particular, over the last 2 years, this administration has been successful in maximizing the use of federal funds, and that takes the pressure off local funding, but we also were able to save some money by doing things more economically. So when you add those two things into the equation, that's what leads to a budget deficit, a reduction.
Yeah. As I asked you yesterday, how much of a factor was all the millions, the tens of millions of dollars we have been receiving from the federal government for pandemic relief? How does that factor in? Because that's a lot of money that can help reduce, I imagine, that deficit.
Yes, but please remember, Nestor, that most of this reduction took place before we got the pandemic funds. The latest numbers were through September 30th, 2020, and we didn't get any CARES Act money until late of May in 2020. So the impact of that on 2020 was minimal. And of course, it had no impact on 2019, which also was a budget deficit reduction year.
Okay, let's talk about the surplus, and maybe you can bring in your colleague Lester, because he was questioning that yesterday. Lester, I did try to call you back, but you were busy. So talk about that $40-some million surplus and why that's the surplus.
Yeah, picking up on what Edward said.
Lester, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You want to tackle that, Ed? I don't know where Lester is.
Yes. Well, basically, I mean, it's the reason that I just gave, that the 40 million is a mixture of improved receipts, because we did improve some tax receivables during the course of early 2020 when the economy was actually kind of, booming is not the right word, but it was certainly growing as a result of record numbers of tourist arrivals before the pandemic hit. And you know, once they're here and they pay their taxes, the money's in the bank. But we were also able to save dollars, as I just said, because we were able to use federal dollars, not local dollars, to pay some expenses. And the mixture of that added up to the 42 million that you just spoke about.
And can you explain what you mean by surplus? Because maybe that's where people are kind of questioning it.
Yes. Well, a surplus is where your revenues exceed your expenses. There's an adjustment for transfers in and transfers out that is specific to government accounting. But I mean, that's true of any business or any entity, whether it's private business or government. You obviously strive to make a profit because you still have to pay, for infrastructure improvements, for new infrastructure. We don't want to stand still, and you can only do that if you build up a surplus to do so, or you have to borrow the money. Previously, we borrowed the money. Now we're in the position of being able to refund that borrowing and not have to borrow anymore. We're doing it out of our own efforts.
Okay. So we went from 83 million down to $1 million and change, and that sounds really good, but what really does that mean?
That means we have to continue working to build up a reasonable balance of funds. Previously, like I said, where we had a deficit, you may have heard the phrase used, deficit spending, right? We had to spend money because we have to keep things going. But if you don't have the funds to do it, all you're doing is building up your liabilities. You're effectively borrowing money from your vendors if you let them age out. So instead of paying them in 30 days like we do now, we were having to make them wait days, maybe even months to get paid out. That's no longer the case. But that's the way you have to operate deficit funding. Once you have a surplus, you don't have to be concerned about that. And the minimal surplus that we have now allows us to pay vendors in 30 days. It allows us to pay tax refunds, within weeks of people filing. All of this is only possible because we paid attention to the numbers, and you measure it by measuring the deficit or the fund balance. But what it means in practice is that you're able to meet your liabilities as they occur and not make people wait.
So there's some people that might think that when they hear a surplus and then they hear that the deficit has been reduced to near nothing, maybe this might be an opportune time to roll back taxes. We talked about this yesterday. You said, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
Right. I mean, yes, some people might argue that, as soon as you see a tiny little slither of a surplus, you should roll back taxes. It's not going to pay for by doing that, you're going to struggle to look for how you're going to pay for the infrastructure. You're always going to be in danger of something happening. We spoke about yesterday about the rainy day fund, and look what happened. The rainy day came, and fortunately we had a cushion in order to deal with that before we got the federal funds to support us, because they didn't, we started the pandemic in March and we didn't get the federal funds until late May. So it's always wise to have a cushion to stop interruption to government services. Everybody relies on government services. We can't stop and really, if you reduce taxes, we're putting ourselves back into the danger zone. Not that, I don't think that, a lot of discussion is about BPT. BPT is at 5%. The governor thinks that's a good number to keep the rate at. It's pretty low compared with some of the other states who tax anywhere from 4 to 10%, even some more than 10%. So I think it's a fair balance. But most of all, if you want government services and you want them to be efficient and you want them to be prompt, don't starve them of funding.
So you don't think the government's fiscal condition currently warrants rolling it back to where it was maybe a year before the pandemic, when we had to adjust it to 5?
I think we have to wait and see. Right? We've just reported the numbers to September 30, 2020. We're going to obviously be shortly finalizing and finally reporting on the numbers to September 30, 2021. The EITC money that we spoke about and the child tax money, which certainly will help, we haven't got yet, and we're not going to get until calendar 2022. So it's fine to anticipate some of these benefits that we're going to get, but we haven't got them yet. And any day, I certainly hope it doesn't happen, but we have to be prepared for emergency expenditure of any time at on any day. So let's just be patient and see how things turn out when we report, with a year that's really covering the pandemic. 2020 didn't really cover the pandemic. Right. 2021 certainly will.
All right. Okay, really quickly now, we ask Crystal this every day. Did we get the ARP money yet?
I don't believe so. I've been so busy talking to you and other people, I haven't had a chance to check it. But I'm sure my staff would have told me if they had a large sum of money in. It's on its way. It'll get here. And when it gets here, you'll all know.
All right. Director of Administration Ed Burns. Sabrina, back to you.
Thanks, Nestor and Mr. Byrne and Lester.
All right, Mr. Byrne, I know Sabrina has a couple of questions for you before you go.
Yeah, I understand there's a hearing this afternoon, but I wanted to see if you had any update on this hearing that's happening in the district court with respect to Take Care wanting to be removed from the bid language for the contract agreement with GRMC.
Take Care has filed they've only filed, it's a hearing this afternoon, as you say, a temporary restraining order in district court. Because it's a legal matter, I don't think I should comment any further than that. There's a hearing, and the government will make its case at that hearing.
But if this TRO is granted, do you believe that it would cause a pause or halt in the health insurance negotiations?
Well, that's obviously the intent of the temporary restraining order. Oh. But I'm sure our lawyers feel we will prevail.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina.
All right, anything else?
No, I think we have Chimo.
Oh, we do. Yes, we do.
Were telling me.
Okay, right on. I mean, if you have another one, we could give another one, and then we'll go to Chimo.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Thank you, Ed.
Thanks. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, Nestor. Lester, sorry, I don't know why.
Nice to be on, man.
Yeah, it was good. Thanks for hanging out. That's Lester, Nestor.
Hey, Lester, I called you back yesterday.
All right. Oh, there you go. That was fun. 8:23, Thursday, May 20th, because they got their budget hearing in just about an hour. Let's get the acting chief public health officer, Chima Mbakwe. Can you let him in? He's knocking. All right. It's 8:24. Chima, thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Unmute, Chimo.
Unmute. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, big morning for you guys.
Good morning.
Morning. I guess, Chima, let's just go ahead and start. If you could provide any more information on the recent positives that we've seen this week, where they're coming from, who they're connected with, and then we'll just go down the line from there.
So most of the cases are still family cases. We just have only 3 travel-related cases, and most of the others are household transmissions. So it's a small Mother's Day family gathering, and then we just had a few cases from that. But if you're looking at our cases over the past 2 weeks, 2 weeks, it's been consistently steady between 0 to 10, which is not too bad because most of them are family close contacts.
Did you say Mother's Day gathering?
Yes.
Can you give us more info on that? So what happened and how many cases resulted from that gathering?
No, it's just a family, like a family meal, not like not like you have people. Yeah, just a family meal. Yeah, but it was traced to that particular day.
Okay. Yeah. And that was it, because I remember when Mother's Day happened, there were some we had on the show who said, "Oh, we'd wait a couple weeks and see what happened." So was that all that happened?
Yeah, that was all. So I think people paid attention and they were more careful. And Mother's Day is very personal, so people spend time with their family.
Right.
Are any of these recent positive cases that we have been seeing on the daily, have they been vaccinated, non-vaccinated, partially vaccinated?
Yes, only 9 of the positive cases were fully vaccinated. All the others were not fully vaccinated.
So out of all the recent cases, what, in this past week that were full?
Yeah, with the ones I have in front of me is only 9 cases from the 10th to the 19th of May.
So from the 10th through the 19th of May, if I go back and do the math, and whatever number of positive cases that was, 9 of them were fully vaccinated individuals.
Yes.
Wow. Were they in the young age groups?
I don't have that breakdown right here, but I know that they were all asymptomatic.
Asymptomatic.
So have we totally closed out all of the Subaki clusters?
Yes, we've not had any cases that are directly related to those clusters in the recent time.
How have the operations been going over at the airport with the vaccination verifications of returning Guam residents that were fully vaccinated here?
Yeah, it's been smooth because, like I said earlier on, we have the WebIZ at the airport. So individuals who were vaccinated on Guam are actually able to do their second verification at the airport. Right. So that is the advantage. But for those that are coming from other places that are not Guam, that vaccinated in other places that are not Guam, then they need to have that secondary vaccination proof on hand, or they go to the QFAC and then help us, reach out to whoever they had the vaccination from, so that we can get some form of second proof for us to let them go into the community.
Mm-hmm. And what about the vaccination verification? The call center was stood up at UOG. And this is just for people that were vaccinated on Guam, are leaving the island, and if they're going to another locale or jurisdiction that requires the secondary form of verification, that's where you need it, right? When you would need that. I'm not sure.
Yes,
go ahead.
Yeah, but I don't think other jurisdictions are asking for vaccine records for entry. I think we're the only ones that are actually doing it for now.
Okay, so then why would we need the vaccination verification printout then?
Why do we need
in the JIC it said that, okay, this vaccination verification, you call UOG, you call public health, you only need this if you are going to another jurisdiction where they require this secondary form of vaccine verification. And I'm just wondering where exactly are these places that you're aware of?
Right now, I don't know of any destination that is requesting for a second form of verification offered, but for Guam, what it is for if you're coming back to Guam as a Guam resident, you need that second form of verification to get through at the airport. That is the intent. And also having a secondary form of verification for your vaccine record. So you have your CDC card, and then you have the WebIZ printout, which is your official vaccine record that has all your vaccines. And COVID, if you had the COVID vaccine, it will also be in that record.
Okay, so does this mean that the operations over at the airport, where public health has the 5 computer stations, is that only temporary?
No, it won't be temporary because for now, we are looking at other ways to make it easy. But right now we have people that are permanently deployed there to make sure that the system is smooth, while we look at better ways to do it, or more efficient way, like more innovations. Let me put it that way.
Mm-hmm. So eventually, then, we do need to have this vaccination printout.
Yes.
Eventually. Okay.
But so the advantage for the Guam residents, and that is what I discussed with the director yesterday, and he was very clear in what he wanted us to do, is having the WebIZ on site at the airport. The advantage is that if you have been vaccinated on Guam, the WebIZ has your official record. So if you're coming into Guam and maybe you lose your vaccine card or you don't have a second form of verification, that can be done at the airport. So it's an authentication process to say, we have the record of everyone who has been vaccinated on Guam. So if we need to authenticate the fact that you are that individual, the system is there for us to just go in, and it takes less than 2 minutes for us to check your name against your ID card, your passport, and then if that's verified, then we'll let you bypass quarantine and the government queue.
Mm-hmm. No, but what I'm asking is public health only going to be up there temporarily, or is it going to be a permanent thing now, where we're going to have public health staff at the airport, so that when people who are fully vaccinated, were vaccinated on Guam, and they don't have this printout, it's okay because public health is there, and they could type on the computer. You're good.
Yeah, that's what I explained. We're going to be there as long as we need to be there, because these guidances keep changing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at some point there might be some other form of entry requirement, but right now that is the immunization. We're going to have a team out there to ensure that people who are vaccinated are verified and they come in. So we will have the team there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I think last week we've actually trained 20 individuals to man those computers at the airport.
Okay, but it's a good idea. Go ahead and get that printed vaccine verification.
Yes,
all
but
right.
if you can't get it, and what the challenge we're having is people who are traveling in July are actually coming to ask for their printout. Right. When you have people who are also traveling tomorrow asking for that, so that's why we have this backlog, and the phones are ringing off the hook. The emails are coming non-stop, but I had, like I said, I had discussed with the director yesterday, and we were trying to put out some form of clarification, maybe later today, for Guam residents to explain further how, we can make it easy for the returning resident. So we are taking we're taking all that into we're really taking it into heart, to address those situations.
Chima, so what's the plan going forward for the quarantine and the isolation facilities? Yes.
Yeah, how many people are in the quarantine right now?
I don't have my daily count yet because I get a daily count maybe like 10 a.m. because you have people arriving last night, they have to process them. You have flights coming in by 4 a.m. So we have a cutoff time when we release the people from the previous day and then do a head count. So that number I can't give it to you right now. But we've had a considerable number of people bypass quarantine straight home because of vaccination. So the number is a little lower than it used to be. But we still have people who are not vaccinated. Like the flights coming in from the Philippines, they were all on the night of the 15th. I was at the airport by 4 a.m. when the initial flight arrived. Everybody on that flight went straight to quarantine because they don't have the FDA vaccination, So, but the Hawaii flight, we had a number of people leave the airport by 7 p.m. that day straight home.
So Chima, they're saying that they're going to put out a bid for maybe like a combined quarantine ISOFAC, but definitely something smaller. How much smaller are we going to go if you're saying that there are whole flights that are getting quarantined?
So it depends on the number of people on the flight too. So the flights are like 60 people. Like the flights from the Philippines. The heavy flights are like 120 to 150, I think, and then the smaller flights are like 60.
Chima, do we need 3 hotels?
3 hotels for what?
2 for QFAC, 1 for ISOFAC. Do we need 3 hotels?
No, it depends on what you need them for. Are you asking if we
need that
number of cases?
Do we still need 2 hotels for a quarantine facility?
2 hotels for...
She's just trying to say, Chima, if we're bypassing quarantine to the tune of hundreds a week, is it still sustainable, justifiable for us to have so many different quarantine and ISOFACs? So we got the one ISOFAC at the Bayview, then we got the Dusit Beach, and then we got the Dusitani. So Sabrina's just asking if we really need all that, given that we've instituted this new bypass quarantine, go straight home if you're fully vaccinated.
So this is, this is day 4, so we actually have to look at our data because, before we're having 600 passengers, at every given time in the QFAC, between 600 to 1,000 passengers. So right now we need to look at our data for at least the next week or 2 to be able to have a justifiable data for us to make decisions. So right now it might be too early for me to make a call, about having 1 quarantine. But I think we only have 1 quarantine site. So it's actually the Dusit. The Dusitani is an overflow. So when we have huge numbers, it's an overflow to the other hotel. But basically, it's 1 hotel that we're using as a quarantine.
How many people are in the ISOFAC do you know offhand from maybe yesterday's count?
No, I have to wait. Like I told you, there's a cutoff time for me to get that information.
Okay. Is it like 10 or 20 or?
If you can give me a second, I can give you that information right now.
Okay.
Information right now. I don't want to throw out numbers.
Of course. I know when we talked to Janelle, I think one of the last times we asked her about it, there was like 3 people in the whole Bayview Hotel. Must feel like The Shining.
3 people and a whole lot of bugs.
Yeah, they got the bed bugs, keeping them company. Sorry, Chima. Don't take it personal.
Assumption?
No, there's a video. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
We saw it. Hello, it's the video.
Janela thought.
No.
How long ago was this video?
It was a little bit, yeah.
No,
it was like, what, earlier this year?
And the thing is, we talked about that months ago, and we're still talking about, this whole combination of isolation quarantine facility.
Right.
So I think the reason for the isolation facility is something that we cannot just throw away because of the kind of community that we live in. We have all these multi-generational families, and we need to make sure that people who are positive are not at home with individuals who are not, so that we cut off transmission as early as possible.
Right. No, Chima, I'm not saying, we don't need an isolation facility. Yeah. We don't need a quarantine facility. I'm just saying that we're paying for rooms that aren't even occupied. And we got like a whole hotel. And at the time when we had interviewed Janela months back, it was even less than a handful of people staying in the hotel, or even maybe less than 2 handfuls.
And we're not really saying anything, but Janela and I think a few other people who have come on the show have indicated that we were going to get a smaller ISOFAX. So we're not making any judgment
and it was even during an oversight hearing with public health with Speaker Theresa Lai, and she was just on yesterday saying, it's been a couple months since it was brought up. And, she doesn't want to have to call public health into another oversight hearing, but she hasn't heard any updates after being provided the initial update that they were going to possibly combine the quarantine and isolation facility, but definitely downsize it.
Yeah, that's why we're asking.
Yeah, I think we actually I think we have to look at the facts here, right? It is a very good and wonderful idea to consolidate, to reduce the size of the hotel. And but we just have to make those decisions based on projections and numbers. So it's looking at what, like we've had 144 cases in the past 28 days, and if you're looking at that number, if all those individuals were living in homes that were not suitable, these individuals would have been in the QFAC, in the isolation facility, right? Because that is the reason why it's there, so that people who are in multi-generational homes are taking over there. So if we have this number of cases in the past 2 weeks, does it show that we know that the trend is coming down, or is it steady, or is it going up? So these are decisions that we have to make on our own side, using the data available, and also looking at projections of what might happen over time. So I think it's a good decision. We talked about it. We worked around it. And I hope and I believe that we'll get to that place soon enough.
All right.
Because what we want is 0 cases. If we don't have cases, we don't need the hotel. That's the truth.
Yeah, but I feel like when we don't have cases, it's going to be like, we need to have it just in case we get cases. I mean, hey.
No. What is going to be is that if we don't have cases, then we're going to have a backup plan in case we have cases. The epidemic hasn't been called off. That is the pandemic. Sorry, the pandemic hasn't been called off. So the success on Guam shouldn't be taken for granted. That is what we need to understand. So people shouldn't take it for granted. The reason why we're not going to have a hotel is when people do the right thing and try to protect others, then we're not going to have a hotel. But if we're having 144 cases in a space of 28 days, then that means people still need to be more vigilant and be more careful, so that we get the 0 cases. We had 0 cases on the 18th. We had 0 on the 24th. We had 0 case on May 2. We had on May 5. We had 0 case on May 9. We had 0 case on May 12. We had 0 case on May 17. So we've had those days that we don't have cases. Then it goes up to 11 cases, 9 cases. So even if you're averaging it, we're still having like 5 cases every day, if you're looking at the numbers here. So we just need to look at the number. I think here the decisions are made by these numbers, because we're looking at those numbers to make the decisions. And those numbers directly shows people's attitude and behavior, because if we're having 0 cases, then people are doing the right thing. But when we have a 0 case on day 1, and then the following day we have 10 cases, then it actually shows that something is not being done right. And we've tested almost 7,000 people within this period. So we are still doing serious active case finding from the public health side.
Chima, let me ask you, what's your opinion of the 2 military bases instituting a no mask mandate for fully vaccinated individuals?
I think that is on base, right? It's not off base. Closely, and when they're off base, they still are there to our own guidances. So there's a balance there. We also know that CDC came up with that guidance. But on the island we don't think is right now. Looking at the situation that we have here, to adopt that, because it's a recommendation for us to make that choice. So right now, the Department of Public Health and the island is not making that choice until we feel we're right. We're in the right place to make that choice, and then we can. But right now, we're not.
That's so interesting to me, because it's like the island, just the geographics of it. You drive somewhere, you go behind a fence, and all of a sudden you don't have to wear the mask. But then we have you, the chief public health officer, saying, "Oh no, that's not prudent."
It's the dynamics of the island. So to a certain extent, but we actually work closely with them, and we go back and forth, discussing these situations. But if it's like you're not wearing a mask in your home, right? And then you're coming out to the public and you're wearing a mask. So let's put it that way. You're in your home, you take off your mask, but when you're coming out, you protect other people.
Yeah, but isn't there a lot of there's the military personnel who, live on the base, and you might say, oh, that's their home, but then there's a lot of people who work on the base who come out, who make their home out here. So, I'm just wondering, because, we're being told out here that we have to wear the mask, and I'm a total mask wearing guy. I'm not trying to be a devil. I'm just wondering, it's like, we got to wear the mask out here, but you drive somewhere on the same island and you don't have to wear a mask, and it just doesn't make sense to me.
But like you said, it's behind the fence. Like someone is not wearing a mask behind the fence, and then he comes out and then he's wearing a mask. So we have to look at it that way too. Like they're not going against what we said. So you're not seeing someone walking around in the community without a mask. You're not. If you walk around the island, everybody's wearing a mask. So that's how we look at it.
Whatever happened to the One Guam approach, though? All right. All right, Chima. Thank you. Good luck at your hearing today.
All right. Thank you so much.
We'll see you.
Thanks, Chima.
There you go. Right on.
Thank you, Sabrina. All right.
Okay. Yeah. I'm only asking because you're right. Rosemary LaGuardia commented in here. I thought the governor said the military was in line with her directives. And, it's only common sense to kind of question that. Just logically, it doesn't make sense to me. 8:49, but they're following that CDC guideline, which came out on the federal. But that guideline, again, is open to interpretation by the states and territories. 8:49, quick break. Minority Leader Senator Chris Duane is coming up next, right here on the link.
Family platter of fried chicken? Check. Tray of red rice? Check. Birthday cake? Check. 1 case of water? Check. 12-pack of beer? Check. 2 cases of Pepsi?
Check. When you have a long checklist but are short on time, we got you. Get it delivered by us. Order on the app or website at uno-go.com. Guam on demand.
Shoot, I forgot the paper product.
Oh wait, UnoGo has that too. KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time each Friday to talk food, taste food, and bring you all the latest and greatest in food from King's Restaurants and Ruby Tuesday Guam, old faves, new hits, and everything on the menu in between. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link.
June makes the best malasadas in Hawaii.
A fact not lost on Daryl, whose brother Byron is cooking the onaga he caught at his secret fishing spot with his girlfriend Malia, who used to work for the Shave Ice Guy, whose second cousin Vince drives the school bus ridden by Calais, whose auntie makes the best malasadas in Hawaii. Everything here is connected, and with the new First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, you can stay just as connected to your finances, and it all starts with yes.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Make sure you're connected. The writing's on the wall. 'Cause if your mind's neglected, stumble you might fall.
Connection is a human necessity, one we need today more than ever. And with the new First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, you can stay just as connected to your finances. And it all starts with yes.
I decided to get vaccinated because just thinking about all the lives lost from COVID and everyone on island that contracted the illness, I realized that I need to do my part, not just to protect myself, but our community. And I also realized we're still not out of the woods with variants that are out there. I want to be safe, and I want to keep my family safe. I'm Tyler Matinani, and I'm a proud member of the vaccination.
Join the vaccination. Scan and plan. For more information, go to KUAM.com.
Addis Trust and Investment, location, service, trust, is a proud partner of the KUAM Care Force.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Help us celebrate the class of 2021. KUAM wants to help you celebrate this touchstone moment in the lives of your graduates. For the months of May and June, we will flood the social media pages of KUAM with photos and well wishes for the class of 2021 grads. Log on to KUAM.com to submit photos and brief messages or captions. Then look for your special grad on KUAM Instagram and the Facebook pages. From all of your friends here at KUAM, congratulations, seniors! The world of television is more exciting than ever. Don't miss a minute of special presentations from NBC on KUAM TV8 or from CBS on KUAM TV11. Every month, we'll bring you the fun and excitement of award shows and red carpet moments, special series presentations, and other great network programs. Brought to you locally by King's Restaurant, Ruby Tuesday Guam, Bud Light Seltzer, and Docomo Pacific, giving you more reasons to tune in and turn on. Fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications. Catch SportsLink on the KUAM News Morning Show, The Link, every Friday to hear about the latest in sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. SportsLink, brought to you each week by Cure Alkaline Water, airs every Friday across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Tune into the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM on KUAM TV 11, live streaming through the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook, and Instagram. SportsLink is hosted by Dave Delgado through KUAM Sports, and he will make sure that everyone knows what is happening on the field, in the gyms, and everywhere in between.
Good morning, 8:54 on the link at Ken Sanity. Sabrina, East West Rental, Cabo Enterprises, ITD, and Jack in the Box, where you get the cheddar breakfast biscuits, the cheesy stuffed tater tots. Minority Leader Senator Chris Duenas. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Chris and Bree and Jason. Glad to be with you this morning.
Let's just get right to it.
Let's get into it. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on. Come on.
What do you think about the disappearing budget? I mean, not budget, deficit.
Well, I got to say this. Thank God for Office of Finance and Budget. And I think our chairman, Joe San Agustin, has done a good job in the last legislature and now. Chris and Bree, straight away, I had a front row seat, of course, to the fiscal 19-year budget. That was the end of the Calvo administration. And so really the agreement on the 5%, which was supposed to be temporary on the BPT, as well as the legislature cutting their budget severely, and then continuing into fiscal year 20, really are the key highlights to fiscal responsibility that was initiated by the legislature and working with the former administration and coming into now. I think the second point I would like to make is massive federal spending, construction on the base, military buildup construction, over $2 billion injected into our economy through PUA, FPUC, stimulus, you name it, and a good thing, really. I'm glad to see that the deficit is under control, but I think that it's not time to pop the cork on the champagne. I think it's trying to take a sip of beer and get back to work, because we got a grim reality coming our way, I believe, with the fact that September 6th is just around the corner. We all know how time flies, and there will be no more FPUC and PUA, and there's still thousands and thousands of our people out of work. That FPUC and that PUA also provides for withholding taxes, because that money is not tax-free, it's taxed, so the government of Guam receives a portion of that as well. So I think that tough times are still ahead, but a good thing that the legislature has exercised fiscal constraint and the governor has followed suit.
Wait, so do you believe it or you don't believe it?
Well, here's what I believe. I think the oversight chair also is saying that we'd like to see the current aging report in terms of what invoices are due with regard to vendor payments. There's a complete lack of detail, of course, and understandable. The press release really doesn't contain all of that, but I would like to see, obviously the 2020 numbers are unaudited. That audit will take place and be completed really sometime next month. We would have to see the audited numbers, but I'd also, like I said, to see the aging report on whatever vendor payables are due. But certainly, I'm not surprised that with the fiscal restraints that we've exercised, as well as the BPT at 5% and all the federal spending, I'm not surprised that that number is pretty accurate.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this press conference coming up. Congressman San Nicolas and the Let's Get Guam Moving initiative.
Yeah, I'm going to try to join in on that. I really take the budget, I'm not saying that anybody else does it, but I take the budget hearings, very seriously. To me, that's the key responsibility of our legislature. So I'll see if I can slip into that. I think it's a good idea. I mean, Senator Moylan really, I co-authored, the bills that he's going to be talking about, and they really are, as we've discussed on your media, they really are fundamental to a lot of the programs we're talking about, and even the legislature's submission to the governor. A lot of those programs really, do have a similar function and could easily be, could fit in to what's being discussed on the draft plan that we submitted to the governor, and still await to see her plan. But in the general agreement that we had on the draft, a lot of those bills actually really do fit in, particularly around the areas of economic recovery. I think one of the big ones there is the one that provides $25 million for employers to actually fund positions, maybe 1 to 2, maybe up to 5 positions, depending on what business, to have some subsidy to get people back to work. And then, of course, we're hoping that those businesses would keep those individuals on beyond that. So there are programs in there under the Let's Get Guam Moving that are very, worthy. One of the main ones is the RISE Act. Of course, the governor is not inclined to support, I guess, our desire to increase that amount, rather go out and expand the program. I think what's important right now, Chris and Bree, is that we follow the law. And Let's Get Guam Moving initiative, we did put increases in there under the way the law was originally designed. We amended it. But if the governor doesn't want to do that, I joined the speaker and Senator Moreland and all of our senators, I believe, saying just pay the RISE Act as it is right now. And if you want to do some additional, do it by executive order because you have control over that federal funding.
I'm just so tired of hearing about this. God, Donuts RISE Act. I mean, it's a law. It's a freaking law.
It's the Lies Act.
It's the Lies Act.
We told you. We told you we were going to give it to you. No, just kidding.
Yep. And where's Senator Regine on all this? This was her baby. It's crazy. If that was my baby, I'd be like, pay it out. This is the intent. What are you doing?
Yeah, well, I think the important part from our side is it's the law, right? I mean, it was allowed to lapse, so it has to be done. So if you're tinkering with it and you're saying, oh no, we want to make sure that it's inclusive of additional classes of individuals, well, then do it. I mean, it's not that difficult. It's been on the books for a long time.
Exactly,
but
Senator.
I think, working with the process, pay what's due now by law, and then go forward and expand it. And like I said, she's got executive order power. She could make that decision and just do it in the coming weeks.
Why do you guys keep giving her a pass on it, though? I don't get it. I mean, she's been pretty consistent about not wanting to pay it out. I mean, why doesn't someone take her to court and force her to pay it?
Chris, that is a key point of discussion, and you're right. I mean, at some point, that's going to have to be the move. I'm actually surprised a lawyer hasn't created a class of individuals yet and basically taken the government to court. We've seen that a number of different times. But whatever venue, if it continues, there's definitely going to have to be some action moving forward. The Attorney General has already said, it's legal, it's binding, it's payable. So let's just pay it. But you're right, Chris. Dragging our feet on it, it's not going to be acceptable anymore. So I'll talk to my colleagues when we get together in the coming days.
I mean, it's not even that, Senator. It's just the basic respect for the rule of law that this administration has consistently shown it does not. Look at this $10 million that was supposed to go to GMH. That was a law. They were supposed to get $10 million for capital improvement. They never got the money.
And that's one of my points of contention on the deficit as well. Of course, that would have been $10 million. Like Senator Joseph Augustine said. He said, look, with this surplus, we're going to take into consideration what are some of the needs of the government. Show us the money, show us the balance sheet and what it really comes down to, because the legislature could decide to appropriate. There are areas of concern and areas where money is needed. So we're going to have to continue to talk about that as we see what the true numbers are. But you're right, Chris, that $10 million was supposed to go to GMH, and I fully believe that we are going to continue to include that in this year's budget and hold the administration accountable for that $10 million to go to GMH. As you know, on our plan, we put an additional $22 million on what we submitted to the governor under the current rescue plan. The other issue, Chris, is this year's fiscal budget that we're in right now. Also, it was the legislature who departed from the governor's number and is about $9 million less than what the adopted revenues that the governor wanted. So it would even be less right now in terms of this year, in terms of a potential deficit, because we still are in a deficit for this year. So it really has been the legislature that's been exercising a lot of caution.
Let's talk about that ARP. We had the speaker on yesterday, and since I guess you guys were planning for 660, it's 550, whatever. She said that there's going to be some fine tuning to be done with this priority spending list. Where are you guys looking at cutting on the Republican side?
So, Chris, my volumes got a little bit of trouble here, but I guess I heard you say that the 550. What is our plan going forward with that? Was that the question?
Yeah, the question was, so you guys submitted a priority spending list to the governor in that meeting, and it was for $660 million, but coming to find out we're getting 550, and then a bunch of different monies for capital improvements or whatever. But we spoke with the speaker yesterday, and she said that you guys were going to kind of go down the list and make cuts where appropriate. So where would you guys want to cut?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, actually, when the original draft plan came out, there was actually about 120 million leeway in there. So we'll have to come back to that. I know that also there's some major differences on the issue of the 300 million that the governor wants to use for the hospital. And so really, I as I said earlier, you know, that draft plan, I think at least what we accepted was a lot of the programs were very worthy, and they were things that long-standing issues that government agencies had come to us and said, hey, services can be provided to our people, additional training dollars, and the details really are in areas where it would really help our people and stimulate our economy. But we're going to have to adjust as we go along. And once again, I really think walking away from that meeting, although we agreed in principle to the draft, with the governor's continued insistence on the 300 million, which is fine by me. I actually have a bill to put that money in the trust fund at GIDA that was established in the, you know, in the 12th legislature. But, you know, we're already kind of, I think, further apart than we thought we were. So I think revisiting the numbers is going to be appropriate.
So are there any, offhand, any items on that priority spend list that you could immediately say, oh, we'll take 5 million off that, or, you know, what, $1 million here or there?
Yeah, as I said, I think the real number that we would be adjusting would be somewhere around, you know, what is the governor's true intention with the 300 million for the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
I think that probably has the biggest leeway in it, and you know, what are the true intentions, and what is the federal program going to allow? You know, it's really a football, you know, going back and forth now in terms of what that's going to be allowed for. I from the beginning, it looked to me like it was kind of like a savings account. so really, I think that's really where the wiggle room is, to be able to say, you know, what programs will be fully funded and what adjustments will be made.
What about this, it's part of the Get Guam Moving thing, this $500 debit card that would be given to people to spend in local businesses?
Right, so that you're talking about the credit card bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's similar to, that's not particularly novel. We took the idea as presented by Senator Moylan from Hawaii. They had done that. They had kind of more restrictions on their intent of what they did with some of the CARES funding. We kind of lifted that and made it more liberal to where it could be used at pretty much any business to try to stimulate the economy. And so we thought that would be a better way to distribute those funds. And so we look forward to the public hearing on these bills. I think that's really where it comes down to. You know, most of this stuff is getting held up. There's a lot of ideas, but we haven't been able to get public hearings on these bills. So, but yeah, the general idea was kind of a mirror program like what they did in Hawaii, but being more liberal, not just restaurants and bars, perhaps in the tourist district, but more liberal outside in the general economy.
Minority Leader, so we have public hearings on these bills that are planning to use the ARP funding to fund them. And then we're going to get the congressman to come out in his press conference at 10 a.m. and basically say, like, all of these Get Guam Moving initiatives or this one can be used with ARP. If you look at the guidance, this one can't. But at the end of the day, if these bills pass, as we've seen with the RISE Act, and as we've seen with the governor in the last session, she said, you guys don't have the power to appropriate these monies. Are you guys worried at all that we might hit that dead down the road?
Yeah, Chris, going back to what you said earlier, I think it really comes down to the legislature is going to have to step up and put its foot down that what is passed into law, if it is not inorganic or if it is not determined as an unfunded mandate, you know, basically, you know, should go forward. Now, as I said, if the governor straight away, you know, disagrees with any one or all of those programs, you know, then let us know. Maybe it will be a waste of time having the public hearings, because if, you know, when those bills first came out, and I gotta, you know, credit Senator Moylan, this was on the eve of the announcement of the rescue plan. We didn't even know what kind of real figures were going to be involved. It was just early announced. So that was the beginning of the legislature saying, well, if we haven't seen your plan, here's our plan. So those 6 bills basically were set around saying, if we realize these funds, here's what we'd like to do. And so, you know, the governor can say, you can pass all the bills you want to pass, but I'm just not going to fund it. So there will be an unfunded mandate. The difference with the RISE Act is she allowed it to pass. So that is law. Now, all the proposals that we put forward, you know, the governor can veto every single one of them saying, the federal funds are under my discretion and I'm not going to fund this. I'm not going to fund it. I'm not going to fund it. So, you know, then that would be something that the legislature couldn't stand up and say, hey, you know, you have to do this. But unlike the RISE Act is law, so it has to be done.
I just think it's funny that we're having to tell the governor that, hey, whatever's the law is the law. What world are we living in? Okay. So, Senator, I know we got a couple of big budget hearings at the Public Health, GMH. What's your mindset heading into these things?
Yeah, so, you know, I think we'll have to see what Public Health is requesting. We'll have to see what maybe the governor has, you know, given them some instructions on possible rescue funds that they'll be receiving. I think we'll probably have some questions with regard to if any of the CARES money has basically shored up, you know, any of their budgets, what the request is. You know, I was mentioning to the speaker the other day, we were talking about this early on when the budget submission came down. We'll have to really look at what GMH shows up with today, because the original submission had really no request from the legislature for Guam Memorial Hospital. So we were kind of intrigued, you know, as to whether or not it was the CARES funding and other federal sources that they were basically saying they didn't have a request from the general fund. And so it's going to be interesting to see what the real numbers look like today coming forward. But of course, you know, these are the two premier, you know, healthcare institutions that we have to make sure have what they need to get the job done. And I'm sure this afternoon, you know, we will ask the board and ask Lillian once again, the administrator, you know, that, you know, we intend to give you that $10 million, and we'd like to make sure you get it so that you can use that plus the $22 million to take care of the hospital until the new hospital, of course, is constructed. We've got a lot of work to do up there. So that's what I anticipate with GMH and with Public Health. Once again, we will have to see, you know, what their budget request looks like, whether it's adequate to do what we need to do, and it's prioritizing all the areas. And then, like I said, what else have they been able to do and work with to make sure that they're continuing to carry out the duty, that the awesome responsibility they have.
All right, Senator.
But you know, one final thing, I've heard some mention from the administration that also what this surplus has, you know, has resulted from is a lot of judicious use of current federal funds, not particularly just CARES Act and the potential rescue funds and PUA and FBUC. And I'm really going to work with Budget Oversight and OFB to have them come down and give us a detailed listing on that. We'd really like to see that. We'd really like to see how you know, those monies were a part of what's going on, because that's going to be very important for us with the budget going forward. If for some reason agencies weren't maximizing their federal funds before, if for some reason, you know, they were allowing to not get extensions on those funds and you know, weren't managing those funds properly, we're going to want to know about it, because that's going to have a big effect on how we go forward with the budget going forward. And I think also many of us are still going to advocate for the reduction of the BPT back to 4% with a lot of the monies that the administration is saying that they're receiving, and the fact that they're managing finances in the way that they are. We believe the businesses need the relief as soon as possible.
Senator, before I let you go, we did have a comment. What about paying all essential workers with the ARP? I think Rosemary's talking about the premium pay. This was something we asked the governor in the press conference, and she had said, well, I can't remember where her support for it was, but I do remember that she said, wow, it's going to be hard to figure out who's essential, who's critical.
So the question is, what about all essential workers?
And the premium pay, you guys support that?
You know, that's going to be something that Office of Finance and Budget is really going to have to drill down with BBMR on, because there has been this, and that's another situation whereby we have to be very careful. The governor had made, her decision by executive order on how the premium pays were going to be paid out. I know
Senator,
that the CCU had to deal with this as well.
Senator, this is premium pay with the ARP that would be paid out to private sector essential workers as well. So there's a provision, a guidance in the ARP that says that you could use the funds to pay, what is it, Bree? Premium pay? For essential private sector workers, or just essential workers, period.
Yeah, I'll have to look at what the budget analysis is on that. And I'd have to look, that of course now would definitely come from the governor, because that's a non-appropriated fund. That is a fund that basically continues at the discretion of the governor. But I'd like to have BBMR make a presentation to us in terms of what that number looks like, and if they desire to pay it, how we would adjust that with regard to the current plan that we put forward to them. If that's an allowable expenditure and there is that desire to cover premium pays within the private sector, well, that's a new program that hasn't been discussed either by the governor or by the legislature. So I wouldn't say no to it straight away, but I would have to see the number and see what the desire is of the governor. Once again, we're getting to that area where she asked us for a plan, we gave it to her, she accepted it. We haven't seen her plan, and at the end of the day, this really comes down to what the governor wants to say.
Okay, thank you, Senator.
All right, hey, thanks, Chris and Bree and Jason. Have a great day.
You too, my friend. Right on, 917, The Link. Good morning. It's Thursday, May 20th. I just got a little note here that... what is this? Oh, we'll come back to that. Okay. 917. Guys, we're just going to take a break and come back with more of The Link next. Good morning.
KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time each Friday to talk food, taste food, and bring you all the latest and greatest in food from King's Restaurants and Ruby Tuesday Guam, old faves, new hits, and everything on the menu in between. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link. Uno Go, delivering meals from your favorite restaurants and more, including delivering sodas and adult beverages from the Bottle Shack. Visit uno-go.com or download the app today. Also follow them on Instagram and Facebook.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Help us celebrate the class of 2021. KUAM wants to help you celebrate this touchstone moment in the lives of your graduates. For the months of May and June, we will flood the social media pages of KUAM with photos and well wishes for the class of 2021 grads. Log on to KUAM.com to submit photos and brief messages or captions. Then look for your special grad on KUAM Instagram and the Facebook pages. From all of your friends here at KUAM, congratulations, seniors!
KUAM Communications and Denny's Guam presents Mamapreneurs, a special multi-platform series throughout the month of May showcasing mothers who are also local entrepreneurs in our community. In commemoration of Mother's Day, during weekdays in May, we'll feature daily profiles of these multitasking mamas and their businesses. Additionally, on KUAM News Primetime every Monday in May, we'll showcase a different enterprising mamapreneur. Check out our online directory of all these businesses as well on KUAM.com. And if you know a mamapreneur we should feature, send us a message on social media or email executiveproducer@KUAM.com. Mamapreneurs is brought to you by Denny's. Guam's Diner is always open.
As May is a month to celebrate mothers and everything they do, let's not forget that many parents in our community are struggling to make ends meet and provide for their children with basic necessities. The KUAM Care Force is partnering with the Salvation Army for a very special drive this May, benefiting our precious and most vulnerable in our community. Through Friday, May 28th, we'll be collecting diapers, formula, infant toiletries, baby food, and other new items for infants and toddlers at our KUAM studios in Harmon on weekdays between noon and 4 p.m. Show you care and help families in need this spring. Due to the consideration of our current public health emergency, donations will not be accepted outside of hours specified. Curbside acceptance of donations is acceptable by calling 637-5826 upon arrival.
Steel Athletics has joined the KUAM Care Force as a community partner in the Mama and Denny's Drive. You may also drop donations to their location in Tamuning on any day of the week. See KUAM.com for designated times.
After a year with so many games and events delayed or unplayed, the world is ready for anything and everything in the world of sports. KUAM Communications is ready with more games, more championships, and more specials that are guaranteed to bring out the fan in you. Don't miss a minute of gameplay from NBC on KUAM TV 8 or from CBS on KUAM TV 11. Every month, we'll bring you the action and excitement. Brought to you locally by Michelob Ultra, Superior Light Beer, and Docomo Pacific. Just more great reasons to tune in and turn on so you'll fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
I decided to get vaccinated because just thinking about all the lives lost from COVID and everyone on island that contracted the illness, I realized that I need to do my part, not just to protect myself, but our community. And I also realized we're still not out of the woods with variants that are out there. I want to be safe, and I want to keep my family safe. I'm Tyler Matinani, and I'm a proud member of the vaccination.
Join the vaccination. Scan and plan. For more information, go to KUAM.com.
Addis Trust and Investment, location, service, trust, is a proud partner of the KUAM Care Force.
But I know now that I'm way down on your line, yeah. But the way to feel is fine. So don't treat me like a puppet on a string, yeah. 'Cause I know how to do my thing. Don't talk to me as if you think I'm done, yeah. I wanna know when you're gonna come. Soon, I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. No, 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 no. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. 'Cause if summer is here and I'm still waiting there, winter is here and I'm still waiting there, yeah. It's been 3 years since I'm knocking on your door, yeah. And I still can't knock so much. Ooh, girl, is it feasible? I wanna know now if I to knock so much.
Imani and Mixed Plate, one of the most covered songs.
There is a
Waiting in Vain, 9:23. Good morning, Sabrina.
Morning.
Right on. Let's bring our friend Joe Kanata of the Guam Preservation Trust in on the KUAM News Zoom room, where we'll just start first. They're hiring. Let's just start there, Joe, because Lana, plenty of people on the PUA now. It's going to run out, and pretty soon Auntie Lou's going to institute that job search requirement, guys. So what positions are you guys hiring for, Joe?
For a program officer that have knowledge in archaeology, knowledge in Section 106, knowledge in Guam's, detailed knowledge of Guam's heritage.
Oh, yeah, Section 106. Right, Bree? You know Section 106.
Section 106.
That's the one after 105, right?
Exactly.
Right on.
There is actually a Section 105.
I know. I would hope so.
And a Section 104.
Right. Uh-huh. 103
All
was
the
my
way
favorite.
To 1. All the way to 1.
Got it. That's how that works. So, yeah, Guam Preservation Trust is hiring. Also, Manetlu, and I got a message, Catholic Social Services guys. So go to their respective social media feeds, as I believe a lot of these nonprofits have gotten maybe some grant funding or whatever that's opening them up. So get out there, get a job. 924. Joe, but you guys are also doing this really cool certification training with the Guam Preservation Trust. It's an archaeology fieldwork technician certification. Is this the first time this has been offered on island?
It is the first time it's been offered here on Guam. It was planned for 2 years ago, and when we were going to start the course, the archaeologist that was supposed to be the instructor of records got stolen by Palau. So she had to move to Palau, so we couldn't do that. And then pandemic came in, and then we couldn't do that. But now that, we're easing up, we want to be able to now get this training, this certification course on the way, because we needed to fill the gap. We needed to provide the skills necessary, the scientific and analytical skills necessary for the cultural resource management firms that come to Guam to do some archaeological survey or studies. They need technicians. Otherwise, they would have to get technicians from off island, and that's going to be costly. So we wanted to build the skills here so that it's not going to cost us an arm and a leg to get a survey done. It's going to provide two things. One is to fulfill that gap, and the other one really is to spark an interest in archaeology here with our local population. The University of Guam offers archaeology program, and so we would like to get our young people to apply for this so that they can, see if this is something they want to pursue in their life. What comes with this course really is a lot of the technical training, and also infused into this course is we call it the community engagement and oral histories. So this is not something that you get at a regular certification course elsewhere. This is part of, our local people know the landscape. Our local people really, and honestly, they can stand the heat out there.
Yeah.
A lot of folks that get hired from the States, there's a big turnover. They can't stand the heat, they go home. With our people here, we can manage that. That's quite easy. So give them the skills, give them the job, and you have a really good outcome.
Joe, we were talking before you came on, and I asked you a question. How many Chamorro archaeologists are there?
On Guam?
Just wherever, on the whole world that you
Maybe
know.
one?
None
One
on
that I know
island.
of.
None on island. One in where? Hawaii?
Yes.
Okay. Where are my Chamorro
And so-
brothers and sisters at? Let's go go to UOG. Take archaeology.
I believe there is another one that it just came to my head. There's another one in Saipan, so I'm not too sure whether that's confirmed yet. But we're hoping that that person applies for the position that we have.
Okay, so stop the press. It's actually two in the whole world, not one.
Yes.
Our
Yes.
bad.
Yes. Sorry about that.
No worries, Joe. So we did have a comment here. How do people apply for this great opportunity?
So if you're interested, you can go online at pacificpreservation.org/AFT, Archaeology Fieldwork Technician, AFT. And you go in there and the registration's there. the syllabus, course syllabus is there. The schedule, everything that you need to know about the course is there at that website. And we're working with the University of Guam's Global Learning and Engagement Office. So they're the ones that are going to be certifying these folks. That way, to confirm anything, everybody would head on to University of Guam. They have records of the certified technicians. Yeah, just go there. There are no prerequisites, so you don't have to have a major. You don't have to know much about archaeology. We will provide that to you. We have a real great comprehensive course. We have an instructor of records that has experience in teaching archaeology in Hawaii. He's actually here doing his dissertation on Guam. So we asked him if he can be an instructor of records. I will be also part of the lecture, looking at the local engagement, looking at oral histories, trying to teach our technicians to be able to conduct that so that we can have a well-rounded outcome with the studies that are conducted, whether in the base or outside the base.
Joe, who would this training and who do you think would be interested in taking this training?
So you have two people, one that are looking for a job and think that this is a cool job to go out there. We provide the skills. We subsidize the course itself. The course would cost more than $125, but because we're paying for the trust through the National Trust for Historic Preservation funding, we're paying for the instructor. The Guam Preservation Trust is subsidizing a little bit for supplies and stuff like that, but the $125 is really to pay for the certification, the administrative certification process at the University of Guam. We are requesting from CRM firms here in Guam if they can provide scholarship for these students. We already have two CRM firms that have agreed to provide scholarship to pay for fees for students that may otherwise cannot afford this. We're asking the community if they would like to sort of help us, partner with us to provide scholarship for the students that come in. It's important to us, to the preservation community, and it's a great opportunity.
Right on. Are there any follow-on job opportunities after the certification class?
We're hoping, because part of the class is really being interned into these, the CRM firms are being asked if they can provide internship, an 8-hour internship to complete this course. And hopefully if they can see these people on the job, they can be able to hopefully take them in after the training is done.
Joe, how many archaeologists do you have on board over there at the Guam Preservation Trust?
None. We used to have one, but now we don't have any.
How many do you need other than the one?
We hope to get at least one to help us with that discipline in preservation, in historic preservation, in heritage. Actually, altogether, you have 5 different disciplines. You have archaeology, you have architecture, planning, history, and culture, chamorro culture. And so every time we look at projects, we look at these disciplines and see, do we need to fill any gaps in these disciplines? So we work with all of that. But we do need at least one archaeologist on board to help us not only with the current work that we have with the trust, but also to help us sort of navigate into the upcoming programmatic agreements, these agreements with the military, because the Guam Preservation Trust is a consulting signatory. We would like to get the expert eye on that. Not that we're not experts, we're all experts in our different way, but it would be nice to get an archaeology perspective into the agreement.
How long have you not had an archaeologist?
Just not a year yet.
Not a year. So like 8 months, 9 months, something like that.
Yeah, about that much, that time.
So having said the list of things that you guys got to do, especially with this programmatic agreement, how has it hampered your mission?
Well, you know, we always, with the Guam Preservation Trust, us being a nonprofit organization, we have a committee. We have a committee of archaeologists on island. We have, and also off island, we have archaeologists that have still kept their interest on Guam, that are in Hawaii, that are in Spain, and that really are in New York. So we consult with these archaeologists that you know, that still have that interest not only with the Guam Preservation Trust but also especially for the island of Guam. So we have over a dozen of archaeologists that sit in this committee that actually assist us otherwise.
I mean, Joe, but just like, let's take it outside of Guam. If this was, Palau Preservation Trust or Hawaii Preservation Trust or Idaho Preservation Trust, and they didn't have an archaeologist, just how big of a deal would it be?
It would be because again, archaeology is one of the disciplines in historic preservation. It is a big deal. Just like an architectural historian is a big deal if we're going to preserve certain structures that we feel that is important and matter to us. Same as archaeology, there are areas that cultural resource areas on Guam that really matter to us, and we want to be able to get the technical skills from the archaeologists to sort of navigate with us on trying to translate everything that's underground into something that the public can relate to, something that is relevant to the public. Because many times archaeologists are archaeologists. They actually provide the reports, but it's all archaeological jargons.
Yeah.
What the trust does is it takes that and translates that into something that the public can easily read and the public can relate to.
How closely do you guys work with the State Historic Preservation Office?
Very close. The same board from the review board is actually the board of the trust. So there's really no reason for a gap.
All right.
They can't say we don't know what they're doing down there because it's the same board. We meet every month and they don't meet every month. They meet quarterly or yearly. Again, it all depends. But we do work closely together.
They have an archaeologist though, right?
Yes, they do. And thank God they do. They have 2 archaeologists now.
Wow.
Actually 3.
Whoa, matutsu that. So, Joe, what did you make though of the because we're talking about historic preservation, but even just like knowing the history of the recent burials, and there was another one Friday. Were you guys able to get any eyes on these sites, or?
I wish that we were allowed to do that. All we know is really just the information that was released by the SHPO's office. There are times when we were allowed to go in. For instance, right before Magua became something of contention, we were in there and we gave some recommendations, and really those recommendations apparently were not taken. So again, it's just, we are just a consulting party, and we don't sign any documents, but we sit on the table to make sure that what they're doing is really exactly what they're doing.
So is what they're doing really exactly what they're doing?
What they agreed to do
So are they
through
doing
the programmatic agreement.
Are they doing what they agreed to do, as per the programmatic agreement?
Most of the stuff that they're doing, they follow the agreements. There are times when things fall between the cracks, and that those things apparently need to be discussed and need to be addressed by the SHPO's office.
What about outside the fence line? What type of consulting do you guys do on, I guess, other projects?
Well, mainly we work with residents, homeowners. When homeowners go in to get their building permit fee, they have to go through the permit process, and one of the agency with the permit process is the SHPO's office. And if there is a cultural resource that is within that property, the SHPO would need to require them to do some type of survey. The Guam Preservation Trust can come in and provide, if not the expertise, but also provide the funding so that they can be able to conduct those surveys to fulfill the permit requirements so they can build their homes.
Were you guys consulted about the place name changes?
We weren't consulted, but we were asked to look for informants in the villages. If we knew anybody within that village that they can work with. I've known that I've provided informants for the Agana Heights village, and so the commission now would have to work that out with them.
Wow, you mentioned the most controversial one.
Yes.
Do you have an opinion on that either way, Joe?
Well, it's really up to the community there. You have the community, you have 3 different specific areas that the community refers it to. You have Tutuhan, you have Taigigao, and you have, I think the other one is Paasan, or I'm not too sure whether I'm pronouncing it correct. But you have different areas in Agana Heights. And the people that don't live in Tutuhan are going to say, no, you shouldn't call this Tutuhan because we don't live in Tutuhan. So there's got to be some compromise. There's got to be some type of way to identify the village. And the mayor himself said, let's just leave it at Agana Heights.
Yeah. So what do you?
Because that was brought up earlier before when there was an attempt to do that.
Right. What do you say the other
Way
one was?
earlier.
Taiguigan? What? What was the other area?
Taigigao.
Oh, Taigigao. So yeah, I mean, is that going to be weird for you to have every other village in the indigenous name and then all the other Chamorro place names in place, but then you get Agana Heights? And man, I gotta say, former Governor Carl, did you see that, Sabrina?
What?
He commented on our Facebook.
On what?
On Facebook article about the interview we did with Mayor Paul McDonald, and he said his comment was something like, I don't know why they're bothering us, or I wish they wouldn't bother us. We're on board with our mayor. So you have one of Agana Heights' most famous or infamous, depending on your point of view, residents saying, oh, hell no. But you know what I mean, Joe? It's going to stick out on the map when you have like Humantac, Maleso, and Alahan. Agana Heights.
Yeah, that's the community. It really is. It should be driven by the community and not somebody else.
Right.
And it goes down to the very fact that if we know our history, then we definitely know ourselves. And those guys in Agana Heights, they know their history.
Such an interesting perspective, Joe.
Do you have any history about the area where that burial was found?
On Andy South?
Yeah, in Andy South.
Andy South.
Yeah, because when we had the SHPO on, he was saying that they anticipate more burials to be found in that area,
And
not just that one.
We do, it all depends. It all depends if we do have what you call the archaeological synthesis. It's a document that puts all of the archaeological surveys that were done in the past. It puts them all in one database, and we synthesize it to take a look and see what what the findings were in that area. I mean, just to do some study in that respect. When we look at if you want to look at fishing, for instance, what was fishing like way back then? Well, we found out that on the east side of Guam, the fish bones that we dug up were pelagic fish bones, as compared to the west side, there were reef fish bones. So we know that the fishermen from the east side were much more, because there are no reefs, there are rarely reefs on the east side.
Right.
A lot of their fishermen were used to pelagic deep sea fishing.
Right.
Whereas on the west side, there were more of reef fishermen. So there you have evidence of the history of fishing on Guam.
That's so fascinating. Because
Those
so
are
many
the kinds
people
of stuff that you can pull out from an archaeological dig, and the artifacts that you see, and you analyze it according to exactly what you want on Guam, and relating to anything before anything was documented.
Yeah.
We have to rely on the archaeological studies for anything before the contact, before anything was documented. I mean, even the rock arts. We're studying the rock arts. We're looking at when were these rock arts produced, and we find out that they were produced 1,000 to 2,000 years ago. We wanted to know what constitutes the painting, the ink there. We find out a lot of natural, and they still exist today, natural plants that have that same coloring. And those things you can pull out and sort of take it to the next level, start using it today, rather than using, ink that is otherwise poisonous.
I think that's so interesting, Joe, what you said about the east side, because there's a lot of people that drown on the east side trying to do what even our ancestors wouldn't do. So that's interesting. But going back to just a little fact, like finding fish bones, digging up fish bones, and learning so much from it, is that why it's so crucial for us to be able to have a seat at the table and study these burials that we're unearthing?
Yes, it is. I really would like to get to know who my ancestors really are in that respect, rather than just relying on sort of hearsay. You have some documented work that were translated from the first folks that came in to Guam, that documented the people. We want to be able to use archaeological evidence as evidence to say, well, yes, it is true that these guys were saying this, because here's evidence that proves that.
Right.
Rather than just accepting what they say about us. It's really sad to start reading about our own people by other people writing it. What we want to do is we want to be able to say, well, this is what we came up with. And because of this, then we're writing it, we're flipping now the narrative. We're flipping the narrative to say, this is who we are, written by ourselves, not written by somebody else.
So when you hear about, one of the burials, this is the firing range, the Taiulu, right? So when I was trying to research it, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you definitely would know, but there was only one other burial that they found like that in the CNMI. So when you hear about something like that on Guam, and you just knowing that there's just so much we could find out about our history from just being able to kind of study this instead of relying on the hearsay. What does that do to you to know that, man, there's this huge archaeological find that they just can't even see or look at or walk up to?
Well, when you look at burials, I remember sitting and discussing with the National Trust, on when we were working with Poggets, and they were saying, the whole Guam is a sacred site, because everywhere you go, you're going to find archaeological evidence of settlements all the way back to 3,000 years ago. If you when you talk about burials, that the really interesting one that I can remember right now is when the utilities were digging the road to lay the utilities down in Maleso, and they found a lot of burials on the road area, right in front of the convento. They keep digging and they keep finding a lot of burials in. Then we look at the documents, and the documents said that they had built the convento to commemorate as a memorial to the smallpox victims, the people that died of the smallpox. Well, guess what happened? They built the convento on top of the massive grave to memorialize them. So that is important. That is a story that the people in Maleso would like to hear. So they know their history, because those people could have been their ancestors. And so that really is our job at Guam Preservation Trust, is to be able to take all of these scientific evidence and translate them for our community, so that our community have that sense of who they are and how they connect with the rest of the world.
Thank you for coming.
Technology.
Thank you for coming to our TED Talk. Joe, I appreciate it. I got to get you on. Sorry, man. Sorry, Bree, because every time we start talking history, I just get lost in it. And I could go on for hours just asking you questions, Joe, but we're really out of time.
Okay. Well, we should have some time together.
We should, yes.
Go to Atantano and sit there at Atantano. And instead of videotaping Atantano, we can sit and talk about history.
Sounds great.
At Tentano, aren't they supposed to build an incinerator over there?
Not wow.
Not wow. Joe has anything to say about it.
Right though? At Tentano?
I think it was one of the.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
That's sealed.
That's the Guatali. That's on the top.
Right.
I thought it was
And they had
Tentano.
stopped that. We actually we were against that.
Right. Yeah. He's talking about.
But Atantano is Bree. You should come and visit that place.
Yeah, we went with Jason. It was me and Jason wore his Sunday shoes.
Right. And Sunday clothes, actually.
He did, yeah. And Lana, so we'll meet up then, Joe, and I'll bring mosquito coil. Yeah. Or we'll burn the coconut husk. More better.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
But it is a good place. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we hope that our young people apply for this course, and that everyone really continue to support our heritage.
Amen. All right. Thank you, Joe.
It's that.
Take care.
Good stuff. Yep. We put that flyer up in the comments. 9:52. We're gonna take a quick break and come back and close out the show next on The Link.
Learn more about KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time each Friday to talk food, taste food, and bring you all the latest and greatest in food from King's Restaurants and Ruby Tuesday Guam, old faves, new hits, and everything on the menu in between. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link.
Family platter of fried chicken? Check. Tray of red rice? Check. Birthday cake? Check. 1 case of water? Check. 12 pack of beer? Check. 2 cases of Pepsi?
Check. When you have a long checklist but are short on time, we got you. Get it delivered by us. Order on the app or website at uno-go.com. Guam on demand.
Shoot, I forgot the paper product.
Oh wait, UnoGo has that too.
KUAM Communications and Denny's Guam presents Mamapreneurs, a special multi-platform series throughout the month of May showcasing mothers who are also local entrepreneurs in our community. In commemoration of Mother's Day, during weekdays in May, we'll feature daily profiles of these multitasking mamas and their businesses. Additionally, on KUAM News Primetime every Monday in May, we'll showcase a different enterprising mamapreneur. Check out our online directory of all these businesses as well on KUAM.com. And if you know a mamapreneur we should feature, send us a message on social media or email executiveproducer@kuam.com. Mamapreneurs is brought to you by Denny's. Guam's Diner is always open.
GU Self Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
As May is a month to celebrate mothers and everything they do, let's not forget that many parents in our community are struggling to make ends meet and provide for their children with basic necessities. The KUAM Care Force is partnering with the Salvation Army for a very special drive this May, benefiting our precious and most vulnerable in our community. Through Friday, May 28th, we'll be collecting diapers, formula, infant toiletries, baby food, and other new items for infants and toddlers at our KUAM studios in Harmon on weekdays between noon and 4 p.m. Show you care and help families in need this spring. Due to the consideration of our current public health emergency, donations will not be accepted outside of hours specified. Curbside acceptance of donations is acceptable by calling 637-5826 upon arrival.
Steel Athletics has joined the KUAM Care Force as a community partner in the Mama and Denny's Drive. You may also drop donations to their location in Tamuning on any day of the week. See KUAM.com for designated times. Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
I've been there before now. I've seen many doors closing now. And now that I'm searching, well, it's you that I'm seeing. Ooh, she didn't want me to go now. Her tears slowly so closing now. And now that I'm searching, well, it's you that I'm seeing. Ooh, find my way back to my first love. Back to my first love. The music, whoa, whoa, find my way back to my first love. Back to my first love. My first love. Whoa, whoa. My food now. Prepare a
9:58. Good morning. Miss Ling, Miss Lot. Sabrina Salas Mantanani with the takeaways from this morning.
What were the takeaways?
What were the takeaways? You know what the takeaways were. Well, the takeaways were that Chima Mbakwe, the chief public health officer, kind of defended the use of the quarantine facilities now and the isolation facility, even though we've heard from multiple sources that they're going to put out a new bid for smaller or even combined facilities. But Chima was kind of saying that, oh, well, you never know. If we get a bad surge, then we're going to need these places. And he also referenced with the isolation facility, which is kind of the one that really sticks out, because there was one point where we had heard there were 3 people 3 whole people in a big hotel that we're paying for. But he said, hey, look at the kind of community we live in. Many multi-generational homes. If any of these people catch COVID, they're going to need to be in the isolation facility. So, I mean, that was one of the takeaways for me.
Yeah, it was also the fact that public health had said this before, that they're the ones who said that we needed to reduce.
It was a little funny because Chima was coming at us like we were the ones that are bringing up this point. I was like, no, this came from your department.
During an oversight hearing.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, speaking of, that's what they're doing right as we speak. They're appearing before the Guam Legislature's Committee on Health or Finance. For their budget.
Right, and then there'll be, so that's 9:30, it's ongoing now, and then GMH goes in at 2.
Yep.
And then we're streaming the Congressman's press conference?
I am not sure. It's actually happening now, but it is streaming live on Senator Moylan's Facebook page.
Okay, all right. So it's 10 o'clock, KUAM TV. Thank you, guys. It's been a blast, as always. Looking forward to catching up with you and linking up tomorrow on Friday. Whoa! Yeah, we got a big show tomorrow.
We do?
Yeah.
Yeah, we. I know we're going down. No, I'm not supposed to say anything.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it.
But I'll be somewhere.
She will. You might get a link on location tomorrow morning. All right. KUAM TV. My name's Chris.
I'm Sabrina.
Esta. Adios.
Bye.
Sometimes I